Right, that's uploading. I'd say give it about 5 minutes maybe? Yeah, about 10 minutes-ish. Give it about 10 minutes.
to make history.
Nature. Red and truth and flow.
Hey, maybe we could go camping on the way back from the zoo. I really want to teach my kids how to gut a reindeer with a piece of bark.
I can't. I've got to be back by 7.
Why?
I'm going on a date with this guy.
Date? We haven't discussed this. Why are you going on a date with a guy? Who is this guy?
I don't know. It's a blind date.
A blind date? Oh. Very risky.
Oh, that's up now.
Where did he find you? The internet?
He's not a weirdo. He's going to take me.
Don't tell me. I watched the reconstruction on Prime Watch.
Don't be. He's a normal guy.
Yeah, sure. Normal guy. Bit of a loner. Obsessed with sex. Oh, let me guess. Probably still lives with his parents. Don't turn this round on me. How old's Fred West?
My date? 23.
23? But I'm 23.
Yeah, but he's an old 23.
It's like this many sleeps till I'm 24.
Yeah, but he's a teacher.
I'm a teacher.
Who teaches no full-time children?
Have you seen my class?
It's going to be like this all journey, isn't it? Next Wednesday.
Really? What? And now show you her holiday photos?
Yeah. Fine by me.
Yes, my husband with his snorkel. And there he is laying out the topple. Have you ever been to Germany?
I just didn't understand why Fraser didn't let me organise my own trip.
Maybe because of your science trip?
Right, that was Mitchell's fault. He said it was like Spider-Man. Look, all I'm saying is that I think I should have taken everyone on like a proper Bear Grylls expedition. Teach them how to survive in the wild.
Why would I do that?
What if the Hunger Games came true? We'll see who's laughing when Ying's killing one of your kids with a bow and arrow.
I spent all morning fishing this out of a weasel. It's an epidemic. Everything's got them. So remember, it's a look but don't touch policy. But a private dance can be arranged later. I'm joking. We have to stop doing that. So, cubs and girls, have you got any questions about animals?
Sir, I really need to talk to you.
Not now, Chantal. The boring man is talking.
Any questions at all?
What do cows have so many tits?
Well, the cows have...
Hey guys, today we're going to be trying out Simply Piano.
I already have a per... Einstein? Somebody's
I spent way too much money on interesting, sketchy, and just bad consoles over the past year. And in this video, we're going to go through the top 25 moments of bad consoles. So guys, hope you enjoy. And let me know which console you think is the worst. But let's go ahead and turn this console on and see if it works. So, 3, 2, 1. I won't be surprised if the red rings. But let's go ahead and turn this console on and see if it works. So, 3, 2, 1. I won't be surprised if the red rings. Oh, disk drive sounds off. Let's go ahead and see if the disk drive opens. It does not. Dude, another console another free game. We got Skyrim. I can't tell you how many times I open up 360 and there's a free game. What is this? Dude is wearing a what? He's wearing a dog. This thing sounds so bad. But what's going on here? I'm just trying to like do 10 different things, and it's just has a mind of its own. It's booting up now. Surprisingly, I actually can't believe this is booting up with the disk drive noises this thing is making. But like I said, it is a Zephyr console, so it's one of the older ones, like kind of in line with the Xenon, so not very reliable. Honestly, pretty surprised it did not red ring when we booted it up. But let's go ahead and check out this guy's profile. And wait a second. Did I just see it? It's one of the older ones, like kind of in line with the Xenon, so not very reliable. Honestly, pretty surprised it did not red ring when we booted it up. But let's go ahead and check out this guy's profile. And wait a second. Did I just see a bug crawl out? I don't know if that got caught on camera, but there was something. I saw something black scurry along there. I don't know if it was dust. It might have been dust. It was probably dust out of the fan. Alright, so here's the packing slip. I ordered Dishonored Definitive Edition for the PS4. I got a PS4 Slim 500 gig, cosmetically flawed. I did use a coupon because I found one online. And let's see what's in here. We've got a HDMI cable. We've got a power cord. We've got we got an OEM controller. Yes, let's go. It's about time. And we got an old school charging cable. I don't know why everybody uses old school. I do not like their products. And we got the PS4 Slim right here. Inside of some bubble wrap. And here it is. Let's go ahead and take it out and take a closer look at it. Well, hold on. Dude, wait a second. I ordered a PS4 Slim, right? You can't make this up. I ordered a PS4 Slim. They sent me an OG PS4. Alright, let's just let's roll with it. Alright, the console is plugged in. Let's go ahead and turn it on. 3, 2, 1. Got life so far. Cool. Got my controller plugged up. Let's make sure this connects up. No way, they didn't even reset the console. Dude, we still got Preston somebody on here. Oh, controller keeps disconnecting. Dude, I think it's this.
Yep.
I'll have to troubleshoot this a little bit later and figure out if it's the controller or the cable. But dude, they didn't even reset this guy's profile. We still got his stuff downloaded on here. But let's go ahead and turn the console off. And actually, there's one other thing I noticed. They forgot to send me the game. If you guys remember, I ordered Dishonored. We even saw on the packing slip, and I just tore through the entire packaging. No game. So they sent me the wrong console. No game. Awesome, but they redeemed partially with a cool controller. This console's getting worse and worse by the second. The cigarette smell is just going everywhere now.
Why do you need a green screen?
So this thing update, and we'll keep going.
Because there's going to be a shot in the film of me as this skin looking over
This can't be real.
a dead body who's also me,
It says this PS5 services
and I'm the only one who has the skins, so we're just going to do like a green screen overlay.
I didn't even try to buy a bad PS5. I bought the only PS5 I could find on Wish. It was refurbished, it smells like smoke, it's banned, I can't log in. What? So you guys probably thought this video was over, but unfortunately it is not. This console is taking a turn for the worst. Let me just go ahead and turn it on and show you what the issue is now. Alright, so you can kind of already see it here when it's booting up, but clearly the screen looks bad. Like there's a waviness to it, weird colors, and we don't know what happened. Somehow in the process of either me taking it apart or Danny, my editor, putting it back together, something happened and it created this issue. Now the weird thing is the console still works, it still turns on, there's no red ring of death, but it seems like the GPU, I guess, was on its last leg, and somehow in our process, the GPU flexed or something, and this happened. I don't know how to explain it, but it is kind of weird that I don't have a red ring of death, and I've never seen this particular issue before, so please let me know down below if you've seen this before, if you know how to fix it. I could probably reflow the chip, and it'd be good for a little bit, but we all know reflowing does not last very long, so let me know if you have a more permanent fix, because I would like this console to last longer. It is a very unique console, being a launch console with a Blaze dashboard still, so super unfortunate. And the weird thing is, when we put this console back together and took it apart, saw no issues at all. Like, it looked perfectly fine. We didn't scratch anything. Usually when you break something on a board, you know it because you accidentally scratch a trace or bend something snaps, but absolutely none of that happened here. It's kind of just a freak accident. But like I said, it kind of just goes to show you how these old consoles are just they're bound to fail at some point. So it is an OG Xbox 360. It's before they even told you how much memory it came with. So I think it comes with 20 gigabytes of storage. We got this bonus meter remote, apparently. I love how on the old consoles they used to advertise all of their just random accessories and then whatever games. I think these are all launch games, or at least pretty close to it. Let's go ahead and do the dirty here. Oof, there goes the value. Oh baby, there it is. We got our OG Xbox 360. Yeah, we still got like that. You got that yellow foam that's down there. Classic stuff there, man. Let's go ahead and take a look at when this console was manufactured, because that's what I'm most interested in. I'm gonna go ahead and guess. I want to say, well, now I can already see on my monitor that it's not got an HDMI port. I'm gonna guess March 2006. Let's see. It's wow, November 22nd, 2005. Hold on, dude. Is this like straight up OG? Is this a launch console? We might open this thing up and it might have Red Ring of Death. Wow, yeah. The Xbox 360 was released on November 22nd, 2005. And that is the manufacture date of this console. Wow, that's amazing. Let's go ahead and see if this console boots up. I'm gonna go ahead and film it because I got a feeling this might have red rings. There's like a 50-50 chance, honestly. So let's go ahead and try to boot this bad boy up. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh baby, here we go. There it is. There's the boot up screen. I can hear the fan like almost rattling. Strange. No. There's no way. There is no way I just got red ring. E67, I don't remember what E67, oh my gosh. I just got like the ultimate fake out because this thing was booting up for a good 20 seconds before it gave me this error. Oh my gosh, what a... Oh wait, this is just a hard drive error. I definitely did hear some weird stuff going on in here, so maybe it's just a bad hard drive. Let me pull the hard drive off here. It sounded like a fan hitting something. Maybe it was... It's a bad hard drive. Okay. Maybe that's the issue. I hope so. It seems like it is because it booted up. It was booted up to the main screen, and then yeah, that's definitely gotta be a hard drive issue because I do not hear the little rattling noise anymore. So it's probably the yes, there it is. Next up, we'll test out this really dirty Wii. We have an SD card. Ooh, we got an SD card. So it's got 2 gigs, 20 for a Wii. Let's go ahead and plug it in and see what's on it. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, the buttons are sticky. Ooh, there's a game inside. I heard the click. Eject it. Come on. Dude, another copy of Wii Sports. You've got to be kidding me. Like, this is like my, like 10th copy of Wii Sports I've gotten in this lot so far. Again, I'm not too surprised, but it's crazy to see. Let's go ahead and see what's on this SD card. Probably, maybe some photos. Let's check it out. Oh wow, 732 photos of. All right, let's see what's on here. Oh my gosh. All right, guys, hold on. I can't show you what was on that card because like I've seen some interesting things on these cards. Usually it's like a kid's photos. He's like got his first camera and is like taking just random photos, whatever, nothing crazy. This one had, I'll just say, that's by far the worst one I've seen on the. I don't know what to say. I'm not surprised. I got almost 50 Wii's in this lot. I'm not surprised this was on one of the consoles, but like, okay. Let's see what kind of Mii's are on here. Yeah, this person definitely did not use their Wii to play games. There's 3 Mii's on here. Did they just use their Wii to store those photos? Like, it's just amazing they stored those photos on here and just like forgot to remove the SD card before they got rid of the console. Like, ooh, I don't know if I want to touch this console. Like, where has this thing been? So let's go ahead and take this console apart. Now, first thing you'll see on this side, you got your DK Oldies warranty sticker. We're gonna take that off, take this little piece off, and then we'll slide the cover off, and then take a bunch of screws out. All right, guys. So I took the top cover off, and as you can see, a bunch of dust in here. Yeah, there you go. That's a better view. But you can see all that dust in there. I can just run my finger across it and pick up a bunch of dust. And then, even worse, I took out the hard drive. And guys, look at that. That is just bad. There's dust flying all around my room now. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see that side. Terrible. And let me just show you inside of the hard drive bay. All right, yeah. So just looking inside of that, you can see dust just hanging out in that hard drive bay. Just awesome to see. Let's go ahead and take the rest of the cover off. See what it looks like on the inside. I don't have much hope for the inside of this thing, but we'll see what it looks like. Alright guys, time for the big reveal. I got all the screws off on the top. Let's go ahead and pull this cover all the way off and see what it looks like inside. Oh man. Oh, no way. Dude, I have no words. It actually looks better on camera than in person. Like in person, every single inch of this is covered in dirt and dust. Just look at that, absolutely filthy. Oh my goodness, this is like, this is GameStop level. This is worse than GameStop. This is bad, really, really bad. I'm gonna take some pictures and show it on the screen so you guys can get a better look at this. But like every inch of this is just covered in dirt, and this is called refurbished. Refurbished, guys, refurbished. What are we doing here? Why am I paying double market price for a console that is this dirty? I mean, you can buy a console just like this under $200 on eBay. Probably even less for this condition. This is sad. Like, why would they put a warranty seal on this console when they never opened it up? I mean, I'm disappointed. This is bad. I don't know what else to say. And man, I think we've seen enough here. But honestly, I want to see what the rest of the console looks like. I want to see what the fan looks like. I want to see what the thermal paste looks like. It's not gonna be good. So let's keep going. All right. So I think I got all the screws out, and we're gonna see if we can pull this all the way out to see what the heat sink looks like. All right, here we go, and the big reveal. Oh man, whew. That is amazing. Oh yeah, all over my fingers. Man, DKOA's really outdid themselves this time. This is wow. Yeah, this bottom piece is even wow. It looks like a desert. What are we doing here? This was $400, guys. I could pay $50 for this. Like, what is? I'm at a loss for words. I don't know. This one's going back to DKOA's. I usually feel bad sending stuff back to companies that try to buy it, but if they're gonna send me this for $400, I'm sending it back. So this is unacceptable. So as you can see here, the title is DK Oldies Refurbishes Their Consoles, and it's clearly a response to all the YouTubers that are making videos about their consoles not being refurbished because they're not. Which is why I cannot believe they're making this video. Instead of like coming out with some good explanation, they're gonna make this video. But let's watch it. It was published just yesterday. Let's just go ahead and start it.
Every day, tons of new collections get sold to us here at DK Oldies. Let's take a look at this one, for example, and let's check out everything that has to happen in this Wii before we can list it for sale.
Yes, so basically they're getting a Wii console here, and they're going to show us the process of when it comes in their shop to when they sell it to us.
First, it gets picked up by our testing department, and it gets thoroughly checked out to see if there's anything that needs to be repaired.
So basically, the first thing they do is test the console. They're going to see if anything needs to be repaired. This one, it does indeed need new lasers, so we're going to watch this technician guy go ahead and
head to our repairs department to get a new laser installed. Our technician Sean opens up the console.
But this is where it gets good.
Any dust or debris that may be inside.
Yeah, so I don't know if you just heard that, but basically he said, oh, well, because he's in the inside replacing the laser, we're going to go ahead and blow it out. Like, he wouldn't go ahead and blow it out anyways because it's refurbished. Like, if it's refurbished, you would go ahead and blow it out whether it needs to be repaired or not. That's the problem. Like, they clearly, I guess they're blowing it out if they go in and fix something, but if they don't fix something inside of the console, they're not actually opening it up and cleaning anything. But, man, just,
Then you'll clean out the rest of the internals, like all the blades on
and like the best part about this video is they're showing like every little detail. They're like, yeah, every console we clean out the blades of the fan, we clean out these cracks with toothbrushes, we do this and that, and like they're just not. Like I've bought 5 consoles from them. 5 out of 5 were not refurbished. Some of them were clean, some were very dirty, but 5 out of 5 were not fully refurbished. And there's some other issues there, but right now we're just focusing on the refurbishment, and they're not refurbished.
Install the new disk drive and then test it out to make sure it's working.
So luckily, this Wii is getting sent out. It does read games. That's good to see.
It's now reading disk again.
And now, I think now they send it over to like
all back together.
Oh yeah, it's cleaning even more. And then they're going to send this over to the testing team, or no, excuse me, the cleaning team.
And it gets passed off to staff and our cleaning team.
All right, so the inside only gets cleaned if that first guy touches it. So basically, only if it needs repair on the inside, it'll be cleaned. If it doesn't need repair on the inside stays as is. That's just what happens.
In the hands of a professional, a magic eraser can...
And here's the best part. They're using a magic eraser. Oh my gosh. If you guys have ever seen like GameStop videos, you know all about GameStop. They use magic eraser all over everything. Like the console, they'll just scrub down the entire console with magic eraser, and it is bad. Like you show it in the light and you can see scratches everywhere. So like I get that you might want to use magic eraser here and there, Google on and get that off. But no, they're using magic eraser. And not just like a light magic eraser, they're scrubbing it down, like making sure they get every little last bit. They got a blade here, I don't know if it's a legit blade or a plastic thing.
Getting a small grooves that run around the sides of the wheel.
And then like I said, like in this video, they're showing them they're showing that they're doing absolutely every bit of the refurbishment process. They're cleaning out the controller ports, they're cleaning all their little cracks, they're blowing out the inside, they're cleaning the fan off with a Q-tip. Are you really doing this to every console? No, you're not. Like, why are you showing this on video if you're not going to do this to every console?
Alcohol will work great for cleaning.
To be fair, maybe they are doing this to every console as of yesterday. I don't know, maybe. But as of before yesterday, they were not, so.
Controller and memory card ports.
It's just like, everything this guy's doing, it's just like, I don't understand. I'll stop pausing the video, we'll watch it for a little bit. Okay. Using the toothbrush.
Then she'll make sure the Wii has the 2 doors to go on it.
Okay.
And now that it's looking great, it's ready to list for sale.
Oh, alright, so that's it. Basically, there's like 5 more seconds left, and he just puts it in the pile and sends this on the website now. But basically, what I gather from that is that this video is just, it's not accurate compared to all the videos we've seen. The videos we've seen of mine, the videos I've seen of other people. There's like people all over the internet now buying DK stuff, doing reviews and unboxings, and most of them come with some issues. Not refurbished, whatever. It's just, like I said, I cannot believe they made this video. Like, this is their backlash to people saying their consoles aren't refurbished. They're like, well, yes, we do refurbish our consoles. Here's this video of our process. It's like, guys, you're doing this only to the ones on video. It just, every time I think about it, it makes me more and more mad that their customers are going to see this and be like, oh yeah, they refurbish their consoles. Let me pay double market value for this console, which might be a good deal if it was actually refurbished. But and before I open it up, I wanted to show you the email we sent them, kind of asking for a new console. And so here it is. It said, hi, I ordered a PS3 for you guys last month, and it was supposed to be refurbished. I've attached some photos of this PS3 and would like to return this console for one that is actually refurbished this time. Yes, we were a little bit sassy, but I mean, you guys saw the last console. It was disgusting. I think we deserve a new console there, so we attached some photos there. And so here's the response they sent back. They said, hello, thanks for reaching out to me. Sorry to hear that you received your console in that condition, and a few sentences about how to return it, whatever. And then here's the funny part. They said, for future reference, opening up a console does void the warranty, but I talked to my department lead, and we'll be sending out a replacement, and we'll work with you here. So they're saying they're only sending out a replacement because it's just like a special case. Like, usually we don't allow people to open up their console and see that it hasn't been refurbished, but we'll work with you here this time. So just, I don't have many words for that, just kind of funny. But let's go ahead and open this console up. And now, as you can see, the label clearly is from DK Oldies. Some people don't believe me for some reason, but let's go ahead and open it up now. Alright, we got it sliced open. Let's go ahead and see what's inside of here. We've got some packaging, and here is our info. Alright, so this right here is a shipping label. Let's send it back, put that to the side. So here's the packing slip, and on the note it says, please clean. So they had to notify their department that they actually needed to clean the console this time. Let's go ahead and take this thing apart and see what it looks like on the inside. So I have enough screws out now to take the whole board out of the plastic and kind of see what's going on here. And nice. Gotta love dust. Now we know for sure this one's not open. Just like, look at that down there. Wow. You know, obviously that's not terrible, but when you call a console refurbished, it would be nice if you refurbished it. And here's the problem, is that there's a lot of places, granted there's a lot of places out there that call their stuff refurbished and don't actually refurbish them. But the problem with DK Oldies is they're showing these videos to the whole world to see. They're like, yeah, we open and clean and refurbish all of our consoles. They're, you know, replacing capacitors, swapping out lasers, whatever else, and they're opening up all the consoles, cleaning them out on the inside and outside. And then they say that, but then they send consoles like this that are not clean at all. And like, which is like even more amazing from the fact that like there's no chance they haven't seen the video of the original PS3, and it's pretty easy to trace who bought that PS3. It made it even easier after sending that email to them, and then they still sent this. Alright guys, so I wanted to butt in here real quick after making the rest of the video, because I'm so mad about this. Like, let's just think about this for a second. If they're sending me dirty consoles, you know, me who's making unboxings, reviews on YouTube for the whole world to see, and they know it, like I sent them an email. It wasn't me because I'm sending it to a different address, but like, trust me, it's pretty easy to track. Like, I didn't make it that hard to see that PS3 is the one in the video. Basically, they should know that it's me. And if they're sending me dirty PS3s, dirty consoles, what are they sending you guys? Like, this is their version. Like I told them, I said, please refurbish it this time. They know it's going to be on video, and they still send this. Not cleaned, not refurbished. They're still sending this. What are they sending you guys? They're not cleaning or refurbishing their consoles. Like, they're making these videos, they're trying to cover up, and they're not cleaning or refurbishing their consoles. It's just Is this a dream? Like, what is going on here? Just food for thought. Just think about it. This console is a little bit weird. I mean, as you've already seen, it has this label on the front. Basically, I was looking for retro game stores in Austin, just happened to look at Best Buy and found that they had an open box console in store. The weird thing is, it's called Satisfactory Grade C, and you can see here on the sticker it says residue/minor scratches. I'm assuming that's on the console itself. I'm not sure what happened here. I guess somebody bought it or returned it, and my guess is that they probably used the code here too. I hope not, but it is a Modern Warfare 2 console, so it has a code inside. Let's go ahead and slice this open and see what's on the inside. Alright, so peel this up. Of course, he does some rips in the boxes. Man, the Sony boxes with the sleeves, not a huge fan of. They always get ripped. Let's go ahead and slide this out. Oh, and inside the box we have our Modern Warfare 2 code, which hopefully works. Again, I'm pretty sure that's most likely used. Like, my guess is somebody bought this, used the code, and then returned the console. Let me just look at the back here. Yeah, scratched off. Somebody bought this and used the code. I need to check the Best Buy listing to see if that was like part of the stipulation, but I paid $4.85 for this, so it was like a $50 savings, I think. You're only saving money because of the code. Like, this costs extra because the code is included, so it's alright. That's not cool. Alright guys, so I kind of want to go in on Best Buy here for a second, because it's pretty bad that they did not include the code here. The description of an open box Satisfactory on Best Buy's website says that it might be missing original packaging. It might be missing some non-essential parts, but like the code is definitely essential, since that's like the whole reason you buy this specific package. And Geek Squad apparently certified this and like opened it up and clearly saw there was a used code in here. So it's just like, it's like next level bad that Best Buy resold this without a working code. Just come on, guys. Alright guys, time for the big reveal. Wait, hold on, where's the console? We got a controller here. Oh wow, that feels like absolute junk. Wow, it's like, this thing is super light too. We got the other controller here. Wait, where is the hold on. Is this the, no, it can't be. Game Stick Pro? Hold on. The photo they show me, look at this here. Look how large that looks here. Dude, they made this thing seem like it was twice as big, 3 times as big as a controller, but in reality, this thing is about half the size of a controller. What a dupe here. What a bait and switch. It's the classic here where they just have like random numbers, and it's in a random order. Why do they always do this? Why can't they just put them in alphabetical order for once? Bigger than fighting blood tolerance. That can't be the name of this game. And no, that can't be the name. Frog crossing the... There's no way they just call it frog crossing the street. Alright, we gotta boot this one up. Yeah, I mean, sure enough, it's Frogger. I thought for a second maybe they actually made a knockoff Frogger called Frog Crossing the Street, but no, it's just called Frogger, and they decided to call it Frog Crossing the Street. I was talking about these famous clones. I don't understand what goes into these things. Like, clearly some of these are calling them legit names, like Super Tennis, Tecmo Whooper Bowl. What? And then it says Mega Man Soccer. So this is what doesn't make sense. Like, they just put random names in some games, and other games have the real names. How did I know this before? Super Moo Yoshi Island. They don't even have Super Mario. They don't even have the classic Super Mario World. They call it Donkey Kong Land 2, Super King Kong 2. Why? So first of all, nothing has popped up on the screen yet, and I hear some knocking from inside the disk drive. Let me just sit here and record some sounds so you can hear it. Yeah, they're recording. Honestly, that knocking noise I heard earlier might be the fan, because I don't feel any airflow out of here. Like, I know the PS5 is pretty quiet on the home screen, but that's sketch. Alright guys, this is getting sketchier by the second. This PS5 is like dead silent. It smells weird, and the smell is kind of like a burning smell almost, and I still feel no airflow. Let's go ahead and put this game in that I just got medium, that I just used for testing. Let's go ahead and see if the disk drive works first of all. Cool, it accepts the game, that's a good sign. Alright, so while that game's installing, let's go ahead and boot up Astro's Playroom and just see what it does. Actually, I'm gonna pause this so that all we hear is the fan. I don't want to hear the disk drive right now. And I mean, like, I could open this PS5 up right now and see if the fan's doing anything, but I kind of want just to be surprised. So let's... There it is. It overheated. I can't believe it. That's hilarious. Back up. Evacuate the building. And now next up, the part I'm really curious about is how these stands work, because on the PS5 Slim, you put the stands in right here, and basically it's propped up on this side by the stands, then the other side is propped up by the disk drive, but there's no disk drive here. So let's go ahead and plug these stands in. Usually there's basically like a couple little holes you just slide them into. These stands are like, man, I don't like them. They're tiny, they're clear. Like what I think will happen is that you'll try to buy a PS5 Slim used like 3 years from now, and these stands will just be gone. Like people will lose those stands all the time. Let's go ahead and flip this down, place it on the ground, and see how it sits. So that's actually, it's pretty crappy. So crazy, which is like, I don't know, that works, but man. Alright guys, got the lights off, and man, these lights are actually pretty sick. As you can see, it kind of fills up the entire frame here, and then looking at the top, you got your little glow at the top, which is very cool. And the best part is, they have these like voice activated buttons right here. So if I turn on the music thing, you can see that they're activating based on when I talk, and when I stop, they stop as well. So you can turn on music and it'll like kind of vibe to the music, which is pretty dope. And of course, there's just a bunch of other functionalities here just to make it look cool. We're getting somewhere, guys. We're getting somewhere. Now, next up, we have this gold skin here that I guess goes on your OEM faceplates. Let's go ahead and pull them out and try them out. Wait, hold on. They included stickers for literally everything. You got 2 controllers here worth of stickers. You can actually put. Wait, is this for your? Hold on, this is for the black part on the front. Oh, okay. We can take our PS5 out in full gold. Alright guys, so we got this front piece on here, and it, I mean, it actually aligned pretty well. Now, it is a little bit disappointing that there's like some big scratches and just random other residue on here, so it doesn't look the best, but it works. Now, let's go ahead and put the rest of it on. Alright guys, got it on there. It doesn't look perfect, but it looks pretty good, and we also got this protective film on the outside, which I just realized is there, so that helps with those scratches I was talking about. Let's peel this side off as well, and oh yeah, that looks a lot better. We got our 24 karat gold PS5 now with the lights. Oh yeah, that shines right there. That's actually kind of cool. I don't know, but I think we're good to go now. I'm gonna put the rest of these pieces to the side. And yeah, the sticker kit was $9, so if you want to deck out your PS5 in gold without buying extra faceplates and stuff, it's actually it's a pretty reasonable way to do that. We got a white Wii, GameCube compatible 4 Wii. No SD card in that one. Now this other one is extremely dirty and beat up. Oh, what is that on the front? Gross. Nothing in the disk drive, or nothing in the SD card, sorry. Let's go ahead and plug it in and see if it works. Alright, starting with the one on the right. Turn it on. Ooh, we got a free game inside. Let's go ahead and eject. We got... Oh. This is not real. Speechless. This game goes for $152 loose. That means if I had the case, this game would go for $200. That is ridiculous. Now, the other problem we're having here is it's not showing up on the screen, but oh no. What is going on? Dang, guys, that did not work. I swapped out AV cable, still the same issue. And I can see Super Mario Bros. There. There's a lot of games on here. I gotta fix this. This is actually, I've gone through over 100 Wii consoles in the last few months, and this is the first Wii I've seen that actually has an issue outputting video. But man, this is another one of these consoles that will have to be put to the side to fix at the end of this series, because I gotta do some research into how to fix that issue. Let's go ahead and try this other console out, and man, I really hope this game works. Alright, now for this extremely dirty Wii. Turn it on. There's a game inside. What's in it? Another GameCube game? What is this? Oh, it's just Naruto. I mean, any GameCube game though is worth something. Let me look this up. This is not that much, $10, but I mean it's $10 I didn't have before, and the disc looks really scratched up. Now this one is actually showing up on the screen, so let's go ahead and boot it all the way up and see what it do. This has got a photo. I can't show it, but it's not. I mean it's funny, but it's also at the same time like PDA. I'll leave it that way. But yeah, we got games on here as well. Super Mario Bros. We got Sonic the Hedgehog. We got Legend of Zelda. We got the free game here. We gotta try out Pokemon XD. Please, I really hope this game works. This is unreal. Like, did these two come as a package deal? Like, I just picked these up randomly from the lot. And how did I come with two consoles in a row with GameCube games and downloaded games? Unreal. I don't know, man. Let's boot up this GameCube game and hope it works. Game is working. Boys, let's go. It's motivation. It is unreal is somebody left Pokemon XD in their old Wii. I can just see somebody watching this video right now, seeing their old Wii, and just punching the wall. Like, oh man, that's tragic for them, but I'll take it, dude. Now, we're going to start with this fat 360 here, which is very beat up, dirty, and smells like bugs, and flip into the back, it is clearly a Xenon console, no HDMI port, and you can see the port down here, definitely says it's a Xenon. Hopefully it's not a red ring, but let's plug it in and see if it works. My nose is getting itchy from all the dust flying out of this console. Let's go ahead and turn it on, see if it works. So 3, 2, 1. Come on, launch, please. Oh, yes, let's go. Wait. Oh, that's an old dashboard. Wait. Hold on. No way. Let's go. This is unreal. Are you... Oh my goodness. Dude, what a jackpot. Holy crap. We just hit a Blaze dashboard. Still got a guy signed in here. Wow, this is unreal. Is there a game in here? No, but of course the disk drive is stuck. Just like a... Oh, that gave me the full 2006 experience right there. Like, dude, I cannot believe we just booted up to the Blaze dashboard here on a random console from a huge wall. What is going on here? All right, we'll start with the profiles here and check out what's on this console. So we got Crogson here with a five-star rep. You guys remember, right? 2006 Xbox Live stuff right here. We got all in one, whatever. Name is Matthew, and he's on your mom's couch. Just like, what else do you expect from a 360 at this time? Alright guys, so I just went in this thrift store here. Very interesting experience, didn't find too much. We searched the whole store, couldn't find any video game related stuff until we got to the front and looked inside the glass case and found that they had a Switch for $350. Mind you, this is a used Switch, don't know what was going on there. They also had a DSi in a case for $80, again, way overpriced, and the store employees seemed to know a little too much about that DS, said there was some pre-installed selfies. What is this, selfies pre-installed? And it was Grant's old DS. I don't know who Grant is. You know a lot about it. But pretty interesting place. Let's go ahead and head on to the next store now. Alright guys, we're at GameStop number 45. Let's see if they have any GameStops. Alright guys, so that was a pretty interesting GameStop run. First of all, we found a 3DS, which is awesome, an actual retro console. Got it here in this bag, but the person there, I talked to him, and they also confirmed that they're starting to get back into the retro game. Gonna have some, like PS2 consoles, PS3, 360 consoles soon, which is very cool to see. I'm excited for that. Excited to see some more Bolt mods, but let's go ahead and check out the 3DS we got. So, classic GameStop in a bag. Paid $130 for this, which is like definitely high, but honestly not outrageous for a 3DS. I mean, like, to be honest, this goes for like $250. But yeah, excited for this. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, let's take a look at this console here. Hopefully that looks okay. Oh yeah, that is a nice looking console. That red looks a lot better in person than it does in pictures. I mean, it looks good in pictures, but it looks even better in person. They even have the red faceplate, power button, everything. Let me go ahead and pull the front faceplate off. Let's see if this thing's ever been opened. Alright, cool. So warranty seal is still intact, and then this thing was manufactured on January 16th, 2009, so this should be a Jasper. Yep, this is definitely a Jasper. But yeah, it looks pretty good. The console looks good at least. Let's go ahead and plug it in and see if it works. Alright, got it plugged in. 3, 2, 1. This better be another power supply issue. Hold on. In case you guys haven't noticed yet, yeah, that's a red ring. Okay, hold on. Let me do my little trick here to see what their code is. Now I'm starting to think there's something wrong with like my power strip or something. Okay, let's try some other stuff here. Now it's doing the same thing that the console earlier did, where I put in this other power supply, it's 203 watts, and the first couple times I pressed it, it wouldn't actually boot up all the way, and now it's... Okay, what is going on? Oh no, I just got some magic smoke. A cap or something busted. This can't be real life. What? Okay, what is it? Oh no, I just got some magic smoke. A cap or something busted. This can't be real life. Okay, so just for sanity's sake, I went back to the original 360 I started with in the beginning of the video and just plugged in my 175 watt power supply again, and it's working fine. So, dude, I'm so confused what's going on. Alright, plugged in again, let's try it again, see what it does. So now it's booting up. I'm so confused. I'm gonna have to open up this console regardless and see what busted in there, because I guess there's a capacitor just busted. Alright guys, so I just want to make note here. This is the power supply I used earlier when the capacitor or whatever in here went up in smoke, and you can see it's 203 watts, and you'll also notice it's just an AC adapter. This is a third-party power supply. I did not realize I was using a third-party power supply, so that third-party power supply might be the reason why this thing just went up in smoke. I just wanted to take a second here to talk about how wild Louisiana was as a state. Man, you can see in the dash cam footage here, we had this guy that was like, it was like he was trying to run me over. He was in my lane coming straight towards me, and I almost had to swerve over and hit another car. That was a little weird. The other parts we didn't have dash cam footage for, but I swear we saw some police cars getting stolen. Like, we saw two, like, it looks like teenagers, probably 20 years old or less, driving off with police cars that had no license plate. Also in Louisiana, that was a little suspicious. And then we just saw some other stuff I can't even talk about, but it was just a wild place.
Shop your next electricals at AO, because it's better with a range of top brands, when they're delivered when you want them, and backed by over 500,000 happy customers. That's why we're the UK's most trusted electrical retailer. Shop better at AO.com.
Dude, we have an OG Xbox. Oh my gosh. What happened to that? I'm really hoping the consoles at the bottom do not look like this, because 900 pounds of weight is in here, so that means the consoles on the bottom have a lot of weight on them. I'm hoping they don't look like this. We're about to find out. So far, most of them look decent, and dude, we got a refurbished 360 here. Look at that, refurbished 2009. So I don't know. It's probably a Jasper as well. That's nice. Oh, dude, oh, we have a B01. Let's go. You see that black trim, guys? That is a B01. So we're going to go ahead and try to test out the backwards compatible PS3 and see if it works. I'm a little scared right now. This is kind of going to make or break my day right here. This is a very valuable PS3 if it is working. It's nasty, but it's good. Get some footage right here. Click on the back first. You have a red light. That's a good sign. Yeah, hopefully not. We'll get the old death right here. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I know it's gonna happen, but that sucks. It does still have a warranty sticker though, so man, this is an interesting lot so far. And oh no, that's not a good sign. Alright guys, we have PS3s that have X's on them. Does that mean they tested them and they didn't work, so they untested lot? That's my worry here, is that this is all crap that they just throw in a lot and call it untested, but it's actually broken. That's my main worry. And next up, let's go ahead and pull out this BO1. This thing is scratched like crazy. Oh my gosh, that thing looks awful. But it is a BO1, and yeah, this is a warranty seal. It's so random. We got another PS3 Super Slim down here, though. We have a little thing that says BD right there, as in Blu-ray drive, maybe? And so my guess is maybe the Blu-ray drive does not work. Oh, yeah, it's got an X on it. Dude, how are you gonna call these untested? And you've got stuff in here with giant X's on them, like they're clearly tested and had issues. That's some BS right there. We'll try it out. So 3, 2, 1, hit that power button, hit the eject, and see that this laser doing something. Let's go ahead and put a disc in here. And I do see, oh, I see a picture on screen, but it's like just, oh wait, there it is. Is that just me, or do I see like static all over the screen? Oh wait, did it go away? That was odd. And the disk drive works fine. Alright, another PS3 here. Luckily this one does not have a giant X, so maybe it does work. Again, it's just filthy. Dude, how long have these been sitting in their warehouse? Now we're getting somewhere. We got games down here. Yep, just a bunch of random sports titles that are worth nothing. We got The Sound of Music. Oh, we spoke. Oh no. Wait. Maybe there's the disc in there? Oh, let's go. No. Dude, they did me dirty with that. Alright guys, another PS3 Slim, another 360 Slim. But the funny part is we have another PS3 with an X. This one says bad disc, so dude, untested my butt. So we're kind of out in the wilderness now. Don't want to unbox this in my office, so we're going to be out in the middle of nowhere. I got my mask, got my gloves. I did have some eye protection, but I don't know where it is, so we're just going to go ahead and... Oh.
Were you ever told as a child
that your hopes and dreams wouldn't amount to anything.
Rock stars don't do homework, Henry. Cool. Henry, you are not a rock star. And you never will be. So the sooner you get that idea out of your head and get on with your homework, the better.
Did your mum ever celebrate in front of your friends when a clown said that they would make you disappear?
I shall now attempt to make this clever little boy disappear.
Maybe you did something silly, like spill paint over the floor during an argument with your brother. Did you then wake up the next morning to find all of your stuff had been taken away whilst you slept?
What? Henry, we've taken all your things away because we want you to think about why you're being punished.
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you were the victim of abuse. There is a great analysis on Reddit about an incident that happened during the episode Perfect Peter's Pen Pal. Mum sets Henry up to fail and enjoys every second of it.
Right. It all needs to go in the cupboard upstairs.
Yes, Mum. Is anybody else seeing this? I mean, the basket, it's right there. Why does the mum not just carry the clothes upstairs in the baskets? This bow-tied kid with a side parting. I mean, he's definitely not going to screw it up for Henry now, is he?
Ah, but wait! You have dropped something. Just let me put it back. No, wait!
Now, I wonder who's going to be blamed for dropping this pile of clothes that's twice his own height.
Henry!
Why, yes, of course, it's all Henry's fault. 2 words. Psychological abuse. Oh, God, what is her problem? No wonder they don't even bother to give this woman a name.
That gives you more,
Casserole was a
like, spotlight.
Okay. What?
Just seeing if it's a mess yet. Seeing if you've ruined all your hard work.
Right, right.
Amazing, Henry and Peter's mom.
Perfect Peter suffers from golden child syndrome. He's a victim too.
E.
When you were a child, did you ever cry tears of fear for the retribution you would receive when you did something as trivial as smash a vase?
Come on, world. It's not the end of the world. Mom will be so cross with me, she'll never speak to me again. She'll banish me from the house, never to darken her door again.
These are the levels of perfectionism placed upon poor Perfect Peter. One mistake, and he fears banishment from his entire family forever. This Reddit user posted a summary of where this toxic and abusive family culture will end up. Henry and Peter meet up in a coffee shop years after leaving home, after years of not speaking to each other or their parents. Henry's on medication and in therapy for thinking he's awful, and Peter's also in therapy for his perfectionism issues. Both of them are surprisingly good at pub quizzes when they're in their late 20s. Please share any examples you have of Corey Henry's mum being abusive in the comments below. Maybe, if I get enough examples, I can make a part 2 of this video. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Please... At least Corey Henry's parents never physically assaulted him.
And if I find you, you'll be wishing I hadn't.
And you just know she's just about to thump
you apart limb by limb. Henry?
There are tons more incidents coming up like this, so stay tuned. If Horrid Henry's mum is a demon, then Horrid Henry's babysitter is the devil. This woman crosses lines that Horrid Henry's mum never crossed. The mum may have psychologically abused Henry, yes, as I explored in my previous video, but she never physically hurt him. Horrid Henry and the bogey babysitter also happens to be one of the most bizarre, quirkiest episodes in the history of the show. So sit back, snipers, relax, enjoy. The first time Henry is physically attacked by Rebecca is when she tosses him off the comfy chair, changes the TV channel without even saying a word to the poor boy. Rabid Rebecca, or like rude Rebecca, like when she tosses the popcorn that Peter so kindly delivered onto the floor. Damn it, you got me feeling sorry for Peter now. It quickly though goes from rude to abusive when the two brothers start to dance together. Nothing wrong with that, you might think, but for some reason this triggers rabid Rebecca. She picks up the boys by the scruff of their sweaters and holds them like they're dogs. I've never been grabbed by a gigantic bully up by the scruff of my shirt, and I'm genuinely sorry to anyone that has, but I've got to imagine that's quite painful. The two brothers then get tossed to the floor, lying there in a crumpled heap, totally humiliated. Just a gentle reminder that this is in fact a kids' TV show aimed at 5 to 8-year-olds. Is this not normalising?
You can join me.
Tries to scare Rebecca off, and admittedly he lives up to his Horrid Henry moniker, as the way that he
I'm
tries to
doing
scare
that
her
now.
off is to leave the taps running in turn of flooding the house. This is naughty, but does he really deserve to be sprayed so powerfully with a shower head that he falls backwards into the toilet? Rabid Rebecca thinks he does. Horrid Henry has now had enough. He decides to join Perfect Peter, who's hiding in the cupboard under the stairs out of sheer terror, and decides to call the police on this abuser.
10 feet tall, teeth the size of icebergs.
He's not kidding, by the way. Just as a funny aside, the police force in the Horrid Henry universe must be the most efficient police force in the entire universe. Just look at how quickly they managed to arrive at Horrid Henry's house after the phone call is over.
And she's watching our TV right now. And that's Rebecca. She's not an intruder.
What a response time.
Focus. Speed. I am speed.
The police may be fast, but they don't do their job. Rabid Rebecca remains. She's not just physically threatening, she's verbally threatening too.
Don't even think of moving from that bed, or you'll be sorry you were born.
What if Henry needs the toilet? This is confinement. It's another form of abuse. Another really bizarre element of this episode is these gigantic spiders that are just wandering around Henry and Peter's house like it's nothing.
Seriously misunderstood creatures spiders are.
Henry is smart and he uses these giant spiders as a way to scare Rebecca into making her leave them alone.
That was huge, really hairy and horrible and wriggling.
Are we sure Henry's talking about the spider here? Henry ends up locking Rebecca in the downstairs cupboard, which I'm sure the writers intended as a way to show how horrid Henry is. However, I think Henry actually deserves credit for doing this. He managed to keep this vile woman, who's been abusing him and his brother physically, psychologically, and verbally, and he managed to keep her away from them, in turn ensuring his and Peter's physical well-being and safety. I wonder what Rebecca would do to Henry if she managed to get her hands on him after this incident. The fact that Henry's parents arrive means that Rebecca is reduced to just verbal threats.
Not in little word, I'm going to take you apart limb by limb.
Had they not been here, or had Rebecca managed to escape from the cupboard under the stairs before they returned, then Henry would have been torn to shreds. Make no mistake about that. Even Horrid Henry's mum is sympathetic to his plight when she realises that Rebecca has been physically abusing Henry. You may argue that Henry's mum, and indeed Henry's dad, should actually share a portion of the blame for this whole situation because they were the ones that hired Rebecca in the first place. They obviously even had some idea about Rebecca's reputation, as the dad, silly time and defended Rebecca's behaviour management style to Henry, calling her strict. She's horrible. She's not horrible, just strict. Here are the mother's comforting final words to Henry before she leaves him and Peter with this insane bully of a woman.
Remember, Henry, don't be horrid!
She's having a night out, and if that means her children get abused, so be it. You ain't stopping her. I'm unstoppable. Henry even recognises the name Rebecca when he finds out that she is going to be the one babysitting him, which implies that possibly Rebecca has babysat him and Peter before on previous occasions, possibly even being physically abusive to them on those occasions.
You're rabid, Rebecca!
I do understand people that say that I go too deeply into Horrid Henry, but I think it's a show worth analysing given that it's had such a big impact on our lives and it's such a popular show. I mean, the episodes on the official Horrid Henry YouTube channel still get millions of views every day. Horrid Henry is a show that was written by very well-educated adults who knew exactly what they were doing and who knew that they were writing for an audience of children. Their work deserves scrutiny.
Analysis.
If you want to see me scrutinise Horrid Henry and other similar shows, please hit subscribe. If you want to support me, then please consider donating to me on Ko-Fi. The link is on my channel page, and all money donated goes back into the channel. Thank you for watching. Henry's life is a nightmare. He's isolated from both his family and his friends. Let's take a look at the time he's humiliated on national television.
Where's Henry? Henry's on TV!
Rather than support him, laugh at him. Let's see the emotional impact that this has on Horrid Henry. Henry must feel so alone at this moment, like the whole world is against him. I wonder how Henry's mum meets her son's emotional needs at this moment. She laughs. She actually laughs. It's sick.
Oh, Henry!
The one time Henry needs his mum to be an actual mum, she acts the before for food. At least her dad has the decency to look guilty. Yes, Henry's family may have sidelined him, but at least he has friends. Right? Weepy William, Rude Ralph, Beefy Bert, Aerobic Al, Brainy Brian. They like Henry. They get Henry, but look a little deeper. You'll see that Henry remains isolated from his friends. For example, Henry loves karate. He begs his parents to do it.
I don't want to be a raindrop! I don't even want to be in the stupid show! Don't be horrid, Henry. You love dancing. You dance around the house all the time. That's not the same. Anyway, I want to go to karate instead. Don't start that again, Henry. You're doing ballet and that's karate. I'm not good at ballet. Madam Tutu says you should practice, Henry, so you don't dance like an elephant.
So, he's allowed to pursue his passion, but not Henry. Having this knowledge makes watching this next scene all the more tragic. In the clip you're about to see, Henry fantasizes about doing karate with his friends. He's isolated within a community he doesn't even want to be a part of.
What do you think we're going to do this week? I don't know.
Henry's mum and dad refuse to accept Henry for who he is, forcing him instead to be something he's not. This makes Henry an outcast, even when he's doing his hobbies. Henry finds solitude in music. He loves the Killer Boy rats. Possibly, the noise and carnage of the band blanks out the negative thoughts of inadequacy whirling around his head. God forbid, Henry actually tries to listen to their music. Do you think Henry's parents would react the same way if it was Pete? My question is rhetorical. As ever, Peter would be applauded, Henry condemned. Henry's dad is generally thought to be the kinder parent. Hold that thought. His dad's reaction to finding out Henry's favourite band have broken up is simply shocking.
And we have breaking news. Ed Wagner has today left the Killer Boy rap.
What? Good riddance, that's what I say. An important part of Henry's life has just vanished, and his own father couldn't care less. Silly Simon, I expected better from you. I mean, at least it wasn't the mother. She probably would have laughed. Nobody is saying Henry is a paradigm of good behaviour. He deserves to face consequences for his actions when he misbehaves. Like the time he cuts Perfect Peter's golden locks. Look at Henry's face before he does the deed. He knew exactly what he was doing. I mean, as a consequence for ruining your brother's hair, and in turn, his self-esteem, not going trick-or-treating kind of seems like a reasonable sanction. But, however mischievous Henry is, no child should ever feel this alone. Now, take a look at this screen grab I'm about to show you, and look closely. Eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed something. No, not Perfect Peter eating breakfast. Not Mum by the fridge, either. Not even Henry, looking like he knows there's something wrong, but can't quite put his finger on what. Look at the refrigerator. Pinned to the door is a family drawing. Henry stands apart from his mum, apart from his dad, apart from his brother, alone. A minority of one. This is how Henry, a child still in elementary school, feels about himself. Another angle of the picture shows the drawing of Henry wearing a sad face. Henry is isolated within his own family. And this is celebrated by his family, pinned up proudly for the world to see, shouting for the whole world to hear. Our son is neglected, and we like it that way. Subscribe for more similar content. Don't do it for me, do it for Lucky. Perfect Peter. That name always rubbed me up a little bit the wrong way. Ever since I was a child and first started reading the Horrid Henry books, I've always had somewhat of an issue with the name Perfect Peter. And then, the other day, I realised what that was. There's a very good saying, it's a very short one, but it sure hits the spot. And the saying goes, nobody's perfect. And if nobody's perfect, then what does that make the perfect younger brother of Horrid Henry? On the subject of Horrid Henry is actually really easy to understand, okay? We know why he's horrid. It doesn't take a psychologist to figure that one out. He's horrid because he's acting out. He's bottom of the class academically. The kid can't behave. The kid doesn't even have any talent on the sports field. Henry is actually smart enough to figure out that the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Okay? If he misbehaves, he gets attention. And attention, even negative attention, is better than no attention. That doesn't explain though Perfect. Why does the curly-haired younger brother of Horrid Henry feel this need to present this facade of perfection? Could there be something more sinister lurking beneath the surface? Could there even be psychopathic traits hidden in plain sight? That's what we're going to explore in this video essay. If we're going to explore that, then we better have a darn good explanation of what makes a psychopath. Henceforth, that will be our next port of call. What makes a psychopath? Let's go. So, what makes a psychopath? It's a really interesting question. First thing is that they're a lot more common than you might think. 1 in every 100 people is a psychopath, which is a lot. That means that, let's be honest, in all likelihood, you're interacting with a psychopath in your daily life. They might be part of your family, you know? You might go to school with them. You might work with them. Chances are you're going to be knocking around with one on at least a fairly regular basis. They don't just appear in Stephen King horror novels or Shane Dawson docu-series. If we're going to define the word psychopath, we need to be really strict with our definition. And so I turn to the father of psychopathy, a man called Robert Pear. Robert Pear defines psychopaths as having a mask of normality, but deep down they have a profound lack of empathy. What does this mean? This means that they're not really feeling any emotions towards other people. Instead, everything's an act. Everything is deep down in their best interests. They don't care about you. They care about themselves, but they're able to present that they do care about you, which in a way makes them quite dangerous. Another author called Harvey Clerkey wrote a book on the subject called The Mask of Sanity. They say that a psychopath has a facade of normality and that they're often beyond reproach, but they have a lack of a moral core. These are really important things to consider when we look at the character of Perfect Peter. Does he have a moral core? Is there any morality present within this boy? You see, 1994 was a pretty big year culturally. We had Sonic the Hedgehog coming out for the first time. We had Forrest Gump being released. Good heavens, we even had The Lion King in our screens. What more did we want? Well, actually, there is one other cultural milestone that I'd quite like to toss into the mix. Horrid Henry. The first ever book titled Horrid Henry was published in 1994. Francesca Simon, incredible writer. She would go on to write so many more amazing books, but I'll tell you something, she hid it in plain sight. Everything we need to know about Perfect Peter is there. It's right there in the first ever story published 30 years ago. We better find out what happens in that very story. So then, this story is a particularly interesting one because the whole premise of Horrid Henry as we know it, it is somewhat turned on its head. Such is the genius of Francesca Simon. Firstly, we meet the characters. Horrid Henry is just simply put an awful child. He's a disgrace. He grabs, he pushes, he snatches, he never says please, he never says thank you, never does his homework, awful. Even his parents are completely humiliated by him. And his polar opposite, of course, is his younger brother, Perfect Peter. Always says please, always says thank you, always does his homework, always, and I mean always, eats his vegetables. But that's, of course, for that good behaviour, he's rewarded. The thing is, Henry ain't stupid. He figures out that Peter gets rewards for his good behaviour. And so Henry, in turn, decides, I want a bit of that for myself. I'm going to behave well, just like my little brother, so I get the rewards too. And it works. In this story, it works. The thing is, Perfect Henry, it doesn't quite have the same ring to it. And nobody thinks this more than Perfect Peter. He can't stand it. He can't stand the fact that his brother is behaving well. His reaction to Henry's newfound perfection, to Henry's sudden change in behaviour, tells us more than we ever hope to imagine about Perfect Peter. Here are 3 instances that tell us so much about this young, angelic man and shatter the facade of perfection that he carefully cultivates. Peter, is Henry knocking your castle down? Peter longed to say yes, but that would be a lie. No, said Peter. This moment for Peter marks somewhat of a moral dilemma. Does he lie to get Henry in trouble, or does he tell the truth? It's sort of an interesting contradiction for Peter, because on the one hand, he wants to be perfect, and of course the perfect thing to do is to tell the truth, and fair play to Peter, he does tell the truth. He's tempted to lie, but he doesn't. On the other hand, his perfect facade is, as we'll find out later with the other examples, actually more important to Peter than being good and having a moral core. So that's why he has that moment of hesitation. He thinks, hang on, even though it's a lie, it won't get Henry in trouble, okay? And that contrast between Henry's horridness and Peter's good behaviour is going to look very good for perfect Peter. He's willing to toss aside his ethical considerations in order to get the results he wants, in order to build back that facade, because Peter can't take it. This story's barely been going on, okay? Henry's only been well behaved for an hour or so at this point in the story, and Peter's already contemplating lying. This instance by itself, obviously, and especially because Peter does make the right choice, does not make Peter a psychopath. I wouldn't even say at this stage it's a psychopathic trait. However, it is a bit like a pebble. When a pebble flicks up and hits the windscreen of a car, okay, it doesn't shatter the windscreen entirely, but it leaves the tiniest crack, okay? The perfect facade of Peter has a tiny crack in it. And we're going to see how Henry's good behaviour continues on hitting with those little pebbles into Peter's windscreen of perfection. I don't think I can stretch that metaphor any further, so let's move on now to the next example. Mum came into the kitchen. "Smells good," she said. "Thank you, darling Peter, for setting the table. What a good boy you are." Peter did not say anything. "I set the table, Mum," said Henry. Mum stared at him. "You," said Mum. This scene serves as a chilling insight into the psyche of perfect Peter. He's eerily silent for a change, isn't he? Normally, he can't wait to pipe up whenever Henry does anything wrong, that is, or whenever he wants his parents to be aware of just how fantastically behaved he is. Yet here, he's silent, he's mute, in fact. So it's up to Henry to point out that it was in fact him that laid the table. Why does Peter choose to be silent in this moment? Well, it's very simple. Choosing to remain silent allows the perfect Peter, horrid Henry contrast to live on, doesn't it? Because think about it. The mother assumes, okay, based on patterns of the past, that it's Peter that's bothered to lay the table for their lovely family dinner that's being cooked by their father. And yet, it is in fact Henry who's on his perfect arc, if you will, who has done it. Peter, really here, you can really see, and by the way, this is all on the first day of Henry behaving well. Peter lacks moral core. There's nothing below the surface with him. There's no actual sense of goodness. It's all just to get the rewards, to get the positive praise from the parents. This is psychopathic. I genuinely
Didn't even get to finish. This one's so hard.
Peter stretched out his foot and kicked Henry. "Ouch," said Henry. "Don't be horrid, Henry," said Dad. Now this act from perfect Peter is so devious. It's so underhand. And the reason why he's kicking Henry is a lot more complex and a lot more sort of psychologically interesting than you might think. I think that when Henry hurts Peter, it's for a simple reason, okay? It's out of jealousy. Peter's better at school than him. Peter's better at doing chores than him. He can keep his room tidy. He can brush his hair. He can do all the things that get praise from the parents. And Henry's acting up because of jealousy, okay? And like I said earlier in the video, he wants the attention too. However, with Peter, it's so much more calculated. In a single kick, Peter is hoping to revert things back to the status quo. Why do I say that? I say that because Henry is being kicked by Peter in the hopes that Henry...
You can join my German SMP if you want.
...shattering
Okay.
the perfect Henry image that he's cultivated throughout this story. Yet, all Peter achieves is... Okay, because because Henry gets blamed anyway, and at the same time, Henry doesn't retaliate. All Peter does is shatter, in the eyes of the reader, his own perfect image. And how manipulative is it, by the way, to put your own brother's well-being and toss it under the bus? You know, he doesn't care. He's hurting Henry in the hopes of getting hurt back himself. He's willing to cause his own brother physical pain in order to play.
How is someone already finished?
Underhand than what Henry does to Peter. And again, I do call it psychopathic. I just think there's a lack of a moral core there. Peter's behaving well so he can get the praise. Peter's behaving well so he can get the credit. Peter's not behaving well because it's the right thing to do. Peter's not behaving well because it makes him feel good. It's just not like that. Okay? If you're willing to physically hurt your brother so that you can be the one getting sympathy from your parents, then that's psychopathic. Okay? It's a trait of a psychopath. The really interesting thing about this story is it shows that Peter has a naughty side. Okay? He's willing to lie. Almost. He doesn't go through with it, but he considers it. He's willing to deceive. He's willing to kick. This is all interesting stuff. This tells us that Peter is repressing his personality in every other Horrid Henry story. Peter feels the need to present this facade of perfection because of his parents. Okay, because that's what his parents want. That's what his parents need. His parents need him to be perfect, especially because Henry is so horrid. And I know this, it's also telling because of the way that this story ends. The story ends with Peter being sent to his room in disgrace because he lobs a bowl of spaghetti. He's aiming for Henry, okay? But he misses. He hits Henry's mum and his own mum, I don't know why I said Henry's mum, both of their mothers, in the face. And it's quite a hilarious sight. Henry starts laughing too, and also gets sent to his bedroom. But it's telling that the one instant that Peter lets his guard down, okay, the one time he's not perfect, he's disgraced. He's isolated from everybody else. He's banished to his bedroom. Whatever you think of perfect Peter's character, psychopath or not, he's a product of his parents' expectations. Nothing more, nothing less. Thank you.
I am the almighty chat entertainer. Bread sausage roll containers. 1 WHO disagrees will be put in detainers.
Or do you think his manipulative behavior can be put down to his parents' quite frankly insane expectations for his behavior? Which one do you reckon? I always think which one out of Henry and Peter, if say they grew up, 20 years in the future, which one would be more...
What an entrance by Emmy.
Would it be perfect Peter? Would it be horrid Henry? My money's on the latter, by the way. I reckon Henry's just playing up, and he's a perfectly regular kid. But Peter is being sort of damaged in a way by these crazy expectations that his parents have for him. They want him to be an angel, okay? They want him to be whiter than white, and it's too much. Nobody's perfect.
1 sec, need to reload. Hive being dodgy.
Subscribe if you enjoyed this, and remember to drop a like. I really appreciate your support. I'm aiming to get to 100 subscribers actually. For me, that's a big milestone. So thank you so much for sticking with it, and Snipe Snap out.
Thank you to the patrons for supporting the channel. Welcome back. Today we're doing part 1 of a new series I'm going to be doing, basically going in-depth and analyzing every single aspect of the Five Nights at Freddy's games one at a time. From the gameplay to the fan base to the theories, everything surrounding the game basically I'm going in-depth on. Including, for this episode, I have an interview with the first person to ever make a Five Nights at Freddy's Let's Play. So look forward to that. Now it's going to be a bit long-winded, so if you only are interested in one part of it or you want to pause and go back, the timestamps to all the different sections are in the description and they should be visible on the progress bar. Without further ado, let's get into it. I've talked at length before about exactly how Five Nights at Freddy's came about. Scott Cawthon released a game called Chipper & Sons Lumber Company, which was trashed, basically, for looking too creepy and reminding people of Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. And so with that bit of inspiration, he had one last hurrah at game development, creating Five Nights at Freddy's. After a very short, failed Kickstarter attempt, the game was released on Desura and later greenlit on Steam in August of 2014. The gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's 1, despite being deceptively simple, was so effective that it has impacted the face of indie horror basically forever. Despite being a survival horror game, if you just looked at the gameplay, it's a quick-on-your-feet resource management game, saving power, surviving until 6 a.m. It almost reminds me of an earlier Scott Cawthon game, Sit and Survive, which has a lot of similarities. Because you can't fight back or hide, Five Nights at Freddy's is based on a relatively simple gameplay loop. Information, action, and wait.
It says you're not online, emoji skull, let me invite you to mine.
Okay.
And there are three major places you gather this information from. Diegetic visual cues, non-diegetic visual cues, and audio cues. Diegetic visual cues include where the animatronics are in the cameras, or where they aren't in the cameras. The camera's static, the diegetic visual cues include the power meter and percentage and timing. And the audio cues are the footsteps, the pots and pans, Foxy's banging, and Freddy's laugh. You take in all of this information and then decide what to do in the next stage, action. In this phase, you decide to close the doors, open the doors, or gather more information. Once you act on the information in defense or power saving, you move on to stage 3. Wait. In this phase, you wait for the next thing. If they're at your
Wait,
door,
since IT says you're not online, I can't invite you, emoji crying loudly.
the timer runs out before they
I'll log back on.
After this brief period of waiting, you move all the way back to stage 1, gathering your information to act on. The gameplay loop is simple but effective. In fact, at certain points at higher level difficulty, it becomes more muscle memory than consciously thinking about each aspect of the gameplay. And while simplistic on the outside, there are a lot of other aspects to the game that keep it interesting. One of them, the main thing you manage in this resource management game, is the power. Almost everything you do causes power to be drained down faster. You're trying to manage power while also surviving until 6 a.m. Another aspect is that all of the animatronics have different AI that you have to account for and behave differently. Bonnie and Chico both move slowly from the stage towards your office on separate sides and appear in your lights on either side. Foxy slowly moves out of his cove until he gets to his final stage where he rushes the door on the left side. Freddy works similarly to Bonnie and Chica in that he moves from place to place, approaching on your right side. Most of the time, he moves with an audio cue. However, he is much harder to spot in the cameras and does not appear in the light. His final stage before jump-scaring you is in the camera, which informs the technique used in the hardest nights. He's also the jump scare you get if the power runs out and it doesn't turn to 6 a.m. fast enough.
ILL reload
I
too.
think he fits into a different category, so I'll talk about him later. After you beat all 5 nights of increasing difficulty and then the bonus 6th night, you unlock the custom night, where you get to set the difficulty of each character individually, going all the way up to difficulty 20. Originally, Scott didn't think that 420
It worked
was
now, I
possible,
think.
but after a lot of workshopping from the community, a bunch of people have beaten it now.
Yes! Yes!
The main technique that was created was close Freddy's door, check Foxy, open Freddy's door, check lights, repeat. Since then, other effective strategies have been discovered, but this one is the earliest and reflects the core gameplay loop the most. Check Foxy and the lights for information, close Freddy's door and the other doors if applicable for action, and then a small wait period between each action. If you couldn't tell by how long-winded that was, I wasn't lying when I said it was and it was really well thought. The thought and care that was put behind the simple gameplay loop is what keeps it interesting. But let's move on. Now, we talked about visual cues already, so I'm not going to get into that. But like I said, gameplay-wise, it's a quick-on-your-feet resource management game. So what makes it scary? Well, it's a masterful combination of...
Bro, that was louder than a
You can
gigaburp.
start with animatronics. Each one has a unique and recognizable design, which is surprisingly difficult to pull off. As someone who made a pretty shitty game with just recognizable characters, I can tell you, at least at the moment in the indie game landscape, the number one way to build a community is having characters that you can make fan art of and are very recognizable. But despite what the fan art might have you think, these designs...
Now WTF does that torch have my skin pack? I downloaded, I am not having that.
Mannequins or animatronics. The character designs embody a lifeless thing having an unnatural amount of life, if that makes sense. It's almost the inverse of what animatronics are trying to be. As kids, we're supposed to think of these lifeless robots as alive. That's their goal. But in the context of this game, we know they're not. They're just robots, and at night shouldn't be doing anything.
What do you wanna do?
Around getting closer and closer. Their unsmiling faces, dead eyes,
I don't know.
and endoskeletons remind us that they're not supposed
What should we do?
But sometimes they pull something like this. They suddenly shoot to life in an uncanny way, eyes unnaturally wide, mouth hanging open. Other aspects of their design reinforce this uncanny valley. Their sunken eye sockets, reflective eyes that remind me of Blade Runner, dirty or destroyed fur, and emotionless expressions that we can't quite get a read on. They're iconic, unsettling, and very well done. Sort of piggybacking off of that, the cameras are designed...
This is either a really good or bad idea.
Static obscures your view, and it's hard to see details when the place is so dark. It takes a keen eye to spot him if you don't know where to look. If you want some good examples
Oh, duos.
make you scared, these three cams. Bonnie in the hall, Freddy in the dining area, and Chica in the dining area. Bonnie and Freddy share the fact that they are absurdly hard to see. You can make them out, but it makes you, the player, lose focus, increasing the tension and setting you up for a jump scare. The Chica one, for me, is just the most unsettling. Wide eyes staring across...
Oh, 10 minutes. Oh, right.
Every time you see something in the cameras, you're immersing yourself more into the game, setting yourself up to be scared. Now let's take a look at the claustrophobic office, the main hub. The room is cluttered and dirty. Yellow and black on the doors are a constant reminder of danger, and the old disabled monitors remind you of how low-tech and vulnerable you are. Letting the unknown darkness stare right at you. Speaking of staring at you, now, I have no scientific or research basis for this, but I get the feeling that the pair of eyes constantly staring at you from the desk, even when you're safe, adds something. Some animal instinct that knows it's being watched. It's a great way to keep the tension high. Now, if you want an amazing, in-depth analysis of Five Nights at Freddy's audio, then I would suggest watching Scruffy's video. It's amazingly well done. But here's my thoughts on it. Let's talk about the ambience.
I don't know what I can do.
Gameplay, the ambience of this game is a deep drone. Starting at the menu, you hear a mix of static, which sets up the main aesthetic of the game, and this ghostly, deep ambience. It sounds almost like an unnatural choir, a ghostly voice underlined by a deep, bassy drone. That
At least then I can say I'm doing something.
Ties into the lore of the game, so the effect is twofold. And when you get into the game, you're met with another ambience track. A deep, churning, almost metallic sound. Again, it ties directly into the game's themes, metallic and ghostly. It's a great way to build an overall eerie tone while pushing the narrative in a very subtle way. Along with the main ambience, there are other background sounds that add to the atmosphere. Foxy singing, carousel music, and the fan spinning, the camera glitching and turning. This stuff helps build on the atmosphere and give little red herrings and bits of tension while you're moving through the gameplay loop. Now let's get into what I call active audio, such as, audio cues, which we talked about a little bit, the jump scare sounds, and other things that act as a component to the gameplay. When Foxy runs to your door, if you close it in time, a loud banging accompanies his arrival. Chica's pots and pans acts as supplements to the kitchen camera, and can even be heard outside of the cams, making it a very valuable piece of information. The animatronics make obscenely creepy, breathy noises, which again tie into the lore, along with this distorted audio clip that plays during hallucinations. In contrast to the deep drones of the rest of the game, the doors and lights bring comfort in their harshness. You close that door and boom, it makes a loud, metallic, sturdy sound. You doubt your safety a lot in this game, but you never doubt that the door will keep them out. The slam signifies it, and the harsh blinking light, however creepy it may make the animatronics, is a loud and instant reminder that things are working. And all of this makes it all the more terrifying when you hit that button and it lets out a feeble... Now, let's talk about the jump scare. A lot of you may know that even though it just sounds like a robotic screaming, which completely fits, if you listen to the whole thing, it almost sounds like a child crying. But neither of these
It is not the best IV breed.
both fit the lore really well. The audio is originally from a 1981 horror movie called Inseminoid, specifically a scene where a woman is giving birth to an alien. Now, it's very unlikely that this is where Scott actually found it, because that audio clip can be found on a sound effects website, but it's just weird that that's the origin. And it's also weird that it weirdly came back around in the story. Alright, let's talk lore. Despite the game series being known for having an absurdly long and convoluted story, the first game was pretty light on lore. It was just the way that this story was told that made it interesting, and along with the main, sort of hidden elements, there were secrets and Easter eggs that made the whole thing have a bunch of replayability, and honestly is what makes it a classic still today. The newspaper at the beginning, when you first start a new game, gives us the basic premise. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is looking for a security guard to work the night shift, from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Pretty simple. One secret aspect to this is the blurred newspaper text surrounding the job listing. Essentially, it's telling you that this job was a poor choice, and you probably won't make it past night 3. Just a fun fourth wall break. As soon as you get into the game, you're met with a phone call from the now iconic character Phone Guy, who opens up with the classic, "Hello? Hello, hello?" Throughout these phone calls, he not only reveals hints and red herrings for the gameplay, like closing the doors and how the power works, he also reveals a good chunk of the lore, from the animatronics stuffing you into suits to the bite of 87. Was that the bite of 87? This is probably the biggest mystery of the first game. I want to talk about it more in a later section.
How long till we see a gamed penis?
A small piece of passing information, Scott Cawthon inspired a mystery that would persevere.
I don't know.
Well, I guess today. The main followable narrative is the Phone Guy's story. His messages tell you that he used to work the same job and that he's somewhat higher rank in the company, but also not a CEO or higher. It's not exactly clear where he is in the company. Either way, he seems to understand quite a bit about the job of a security guard. At the beginning of Night 4, the phone call ends with Phone Guy being attacked and presumably killed by the animatronics.
Yeah, I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there.
But in the final Night 5 phone call, you aren't met with Phone Guy. Instead, you're met with a garbled robotic voice. When reversed and cleaned up, it is widely believed to be a reading of an excerpt from the book Autobiography of a Yogi. This recording famously inspired the fan game name The Joy of Creation. But like I said, there's more to this game's story than just the phone calls. Secrets and hidden lore reveals that you can play through the entire game and never see. There's the creepy but not necessarily lore-important hidden cams like Bonnie's rare backstage camera and rare death screens, the poster in the West Hall corner changing to Freddy ripping his own head off, and the animatronics and Freddy alone on stage staring
Good
at
enough.
the camera, and the backstage animatronics
Yeah.
at the camera. And here's where we get into the real shit, the stuff that turned this game to the next level. In the East Hall corner camera, the rules poster will change to one of 4 secret newspaper clippings detailing the disappearance of 5 children. Lured into a back room by a mysterious man dressed in one of the Fazbear costumes, the 5 children were never seen again. Meanwhile, the restaurant is facing shutdown after multiple complaints that the animatronics smell terrible and were leaking what appeared to be blood and mucus. It includes some unsettling quotes like, "The characters will live on in the hearts of the kids," and one parent likened them to reanimated corpses. I think you can see what's happening here. Phone Guy's phony story about the animatronics stuffing you into suits because they don't recognize you as an animatronic seems like a complete lie. The general consensus is that after the kids were murdered, they were shoved into the animatronic suits to hide their bodies, where they're left to decompose. The ghosts of the children now haunt the animatronics, and their own way of being stuffed into the suits is likely what inspired them to stuff you into a suit. And there are more secrets that tie into this story. Posters in the East Hall cam will sometimes change to drawings of crying children, a soon-to-be recurring theme in this series. Now, I think you can see why the breathy voice, jump scare sounds, ghostly ambience, and other pieces I mentioned tie in thematically. And then there's Golden Freddy. In the West Hall corner camera, rarely, the poster will change to an image of a golden version of Freddy's face. Golden Freddy will appear sitting in your office, along with glitching faces of animatronics, a little girl's laugh, which happens to be an unedited version of Freddy's laugh, a robotic voice, and the words, "It's me." If you stare at it for too long without opening your camera, it will jump scare you with a deeper version of the jump scare sound, and crash the game. Later, after false rumors that setting the custom night difficulty to 1987 unlocked a secret ending, Scott Cawthon added a game-crashing Golden Freddy jump scare if you tried to play the game on that setting. There's other examples of Easter eggs related to this Golden Freddy "It's me" message too. After you view the newspaper clipping Easter egg, it triggers another change in the East Hall camera where the term "It's me" is plastered on the wall. When Foxy leaves his cove to run after you, sometimes his out-of-order sign will have the message, "It's me" on it, and sometimes, outside of Golden Freddy, the glitchy "It's me" hallucination animatronic faces will appear randomly. Exactly what "it's me" means is still hotly debated, and many believe it applies differently throughout the games. Also, there is no doubt in my mind, and there shouldn't be in yours either, that the reason Five Nights at Freddy's became so successful was
I think this looks good.
it blew up in the Let's Play scene. The first Let's Play was released before the game even was, and I'm not just talking about Scott Cawthon's gameplay video. The channel Ben the Scoopist got a copy early because he had played some of Scott's previous games, and uploaded his Let's Play on July 26th. Like I said earlier, I have an interview with him coming up at the end, but for now, let's talk about the video that I think we all know blew the game up. Markiplier, as prompted by fellow Let's Player Yamimash and his whole community, made the most famous Five Nights at Freddy's video of all time.
Yeah, there we go.
Warning, scariest game in years, Five Nights at Freddy's Part 1. I could literally quote this video by heart. Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Let's Play Five Nights at Freddy's, an indie horror game that you guys suggested en masse, and I saw that Yamimash played it and he said it was really, really good. So I'm very eager to see what is up. And that is a terrifying animatronic bear. Now sitting at almost 87 million views, this video shot the game, and in some ways Markiplier, into absurd stardom. For the game's popularity, it opened the Pandora's box of the theory community. From theories that kind of called it all the way back then, to theories that literally don't make any sense.
You called it.
Outright hoaxes.
Told you so.
Other games in this series, the hoaxes are few and far between, but they're definitely the most iconic. If you want a really comprehensive look at all of the Five Nights at Freddy's hoaxes, check out Go Motion's video. The fake Sparky the Dog image, which purported to be an Easter egg with a new animatronic. There was also the Custom Night rumors. 1987 unlocked a secret ending, which Scott ended up making kind of true, or 666 makes the kitchen camera visible. Now let's get into the meat of it. There were so many theories that are just so wild and are now infamous. Foxy is a good guy theory, which posited that because Foxy doesn't jump at you, instead just peeks in through the door, he's actually just checking up on you, but the night guard just has a heart attack. Somehow I don't think that was Scott's intention. There was also the Freddy is a girl theory.
Laugh _ giggle _ girl. 1. Girl.
Let's not get into that. And then there was the idea that Chica had Phone Guy's body inside of her because of the teeth you see, although that was debunked relatively quickly because all of them have the endoskeleton teeth. And of course, the game theory video. This is another example of something that boosted the game's popularity and the creator's popularity. Now, I remember actually thinking that this could have been real because, let's be honest, there wasn't a lot going for the game theory-wise, at the time at least. But I think it's becoming increasingly clear that Five Nights at Freddy's being based on a real-life mass murder at Chuck E. Cheese in 1993 was very incorrect. Then there were some theories that actually sort of made sense at the time and were pretty widely accepted. Freddy having handprints on his head, Phone Guy being Golden Freddy, Phone Guy being the killer, Golden Freddy being the killer, or the player being the killer. And then there was the rabbit hole of the Bite of 87. What was the Bite of 87? Who did it? And weirdly enough, it was even up for debate whether or not...
Stop jiggling my trapdoors on my build.
Some people thought Foxy with his wide jaw, which some people thought was broken, and sharp teeth did it. Some thought that the handprints on Freddy's face meant a child got close enough to his mouth for Freddy to have done it. Did Golden Freddy do it? Kinda, actually. There was even a theory that I didn't even remember existed until I was looking at some
The real
old
Titanic.
subreddit posts, that because the animatronics don't look like they're from the 90s and the technology is...
We got third!
The game actually takes place in the future, and it was the Bite of 2087. It seems like it was a pretty big...
DW, I got a screenshot for you.
Talking about or joking about it anymore.
Why am I a cat?
YouTube sphere, the Steam community, and subreddit were thriving at this time. And Scott Cawthon himself even interacted with people inside the Steam community and the subreddit. Now, I wasn't really a big Steam community user, so I just want to talk about the subreddit a little bit. I found some gems while looking back. Here's some early cosplay of the characters.
By the way, the pen is build 1.
Just some very nice community interaction.
Wait, really?
Before the second game even came out. But now I want to get to the posts on the first day that the Five Nights at Freddy's subreddit was created. Here we have a GIF with the caption, "Note." To me, this encapsulated the entirety of the vibe around the first game at the time. Literally blasted me back. And the first post on the subreddit.
Ah, god damn it.
Very fitting. Also, before we move on, I want to bring up the songs, or specifically the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 Living song. Cheesy, stupid, and amazing. This song literally supersonic shoots me back to that time and it's synonymous with the game at this point. Just listen to it again if you haven't in a while. Trust me, it's worth it. Oh, and also the weird creepypasta Bite of 87 fan audio, which I never really understood. Like many, I was introduced to the game through Markiplier's Let's Play video. I had been watching him for a while, and he was the reason I started YouTube in the first place. And I had no idea what it was going to do with my life. It started as a Roblox Let's Play video, but it ended up starting my whole subgenre of videos I do analyzing things. Five Nights at Freddy's Unmasked eventually turned into the Creepypasta Files, which turned into the Creepy Files, which is basically where we are now. I won't deny, though, there was a little less quality control back then.
It is possible Freddy Fazbear is haunted by a female spirit, right?
Now, with these deep dive videos, I want to rank all of the games. And normally I would go into a little bit more detail into why I put each one where, but this is the first game. Of course it's going to be S tier. It's Five Nights at Freddy's.
Right, okay.
Alright, the thing you've all been waiting for. The interview with Ben the Scoopus, the person to make a Five Nights at Freddy's Let's Play before anybody else. But before we get into the questions, I want to quickly go over the story that he shared with me before he answered the questions. It's actually kind of a funny story of why I had any success with the game in the first place. I'd done a series of Scott's previous game, The Desolate Hope. During this playthrough, he was commenting on my videos, offering some advice, and just in general, hanging out. So when his next game came out, Five Nights at Freddy's, he gave me a full copy of it, as I believe part promotion and part thank you. Now the game took off pretty quickly after that, with some much larger Let's Players getting a hold of it, Markiplier being the biggest I believe, but they all just had the demo, which was the first 2 nights only. Queue up my little channel with the next couple nights, so from my perspective, everyone came over and watched my stuff. Easily the most exciting time in my humble little channel's history. Pretty crazy. Let's move on to the questions. How did you discover Scott Cawthon's games? I was first introduced to Scott's games through the Steam release of The Desolate Hope, a game which has one of the most over-the-top, high-energy combat screens I've ever experienced. That the game was made by one person is incredible. It was fun, it had beautiful artwork, and a very unique storytelling with a lot of varied gameplay. He made the first Five Nights at Freddy's after, and the rest is history. Have you stayed up to date on the FNAF games? I've not stayed very up to date because the games are almost the embodiment of pure stress for me. I believe I played up to Night 4 on the first game and Night 2 on the second. After that, I largely tuned the series out, although I did watch a few videos analyzing the incredibly deep Easter eggs in the first few games. Just looking it up now, I actually had no idea he made a game past FNAF 4. Clearly, I missed a great deal. How's the game affected your channel? I feel like the best way to represent what the time graph of my views. The enormous peak is largely just 2 days when the game kicked off. It gave me a lot of subscribers and definitely made me feel like being a Let's Player is something I could seriously pursue. Clearly, I could never replicate that success, but it was my 5 minutes fame and I really appreciate what it did for me. What are you up to now? I'm currently working hard at becoming a game developer myself. I graduated from a game programming course in the spring, and I've been working on my portfolio and applying to whatever positions come up. In regards to my channel, I have largely given up on any idea of being successful, but I still come out with stuff occasionally, mostly just some casual streams. I've tried to set and follow a schedule, but it never seems to last very long. As a guy in my 30s, I find it really hard to find the time. I want to give the...
Does that look good? I don't know, I can't tell.
You know, for somebody who's so important to the Five Nights at Freddy's sort of history, I'm surprised at how little followers he has. So here is his stuff. Please go follow him.
I mean the white bits. Of course I mean the sword. The sword is good. I mean the white bits.
2 months after the first game's release, an image showed up on Scott Cawthon's website, scottgames.com. The grand reopening. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, 2015. Welcome back. Today, thanks to the amazing support of the last one of these videos, we're doing a retrospective on Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Let's get started. Now, unlike the first game, which was relatively unknown and made by a relatively unknown developer at the time of release,
yeah, that looks a lot better actually.
Was a hype machine, people dubbing it the scariest game ever.
Ah, yeah, better. That, yeah, something like that.
I have ever played. And so
Ooh.
when the first teaser showed up on Sky,
Do you think, like...
all hell broke loose. In total,
Hey, is that Kurt? So, what do you know about Typer Industria? It's an odd name for a game.
I give up on the bloody shade of white.
for this game, and let's look at them individually. With the file name FNAF 2, it couldn't be more clear. There was a second game. With the reveal of what I think is the best iteration of Freddy, the community was released into a frenzy. Another thing to note about this is the 2015 release date. That was inaccurate. Here we have the reveal of Toy Bonnie and Withered Bonnie. This began the real theorizing. Why are there new animatronics? Who brought them back? Another thing to note is the names Toy and Withered were not used at this point. From my memory, the new animatronics were called the 2.0.
I made a PP.
Bonnie 2.0, Foxy 2.0. Speaking of Foxy, another character reveal, the Mangle, at this point known as either Foxy 2.0 or Miss Foxy. And so began the debate. Dear God, here we have the first hint at gameplay in one of these teasers. And even though the main thing everyone was talking about was the mask, this is also the reveal of the flashlight mechanic. And
is that
so
too
the
much?
tradition of, increase the brightness and contrast on the image. And it was also the reveal of one of the most pivotal characters in the entire franchise.
Yeah, that's too much.
The puppet. And then there was the trailer, opening with a chorus of children singing London Bridge and a reveal of Withered Bonnie to the voice of a phone guy who, for all intents and purposes, at that point had been killed in the last game. And for those who know, he was. Every aspect of this trailer was combed through for theories, from the singing actually being reversed message of might kill all, to the drawings on the walls, to Foxy's jump scare at the end being the words freedom. Almost all of these theories were false, except for one concerning the phone guy call, which we'll get into later.
Wanna join my German SMP if you want.
Excellent, example.
Yeah, I will
Scott
later.
uses his 3D modeling experience to create a really good trailer. The lighting, the music, the pacing, everyone was ready for the second installment, even if they would have to wait until next year. But luckily for them, they wouldn't have to wait that long, because on November 11th, 2014, the second game was released, completely ahead of the original 2015 release date.
I think good.
Okay.
So, the gameplay. Where Five Nights at Freddy's 1 was built almost exclusively on using the two doors, there was a lot more to keep track of in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and that's even aside from the fact that there is literally twice the characters. First off, there is no doors, nothing to close them out. So instead, you use two new options, putting on the Freddy Fazbear mask to fool the animatronic facial scanners, or the flashlight to disorient or reset the animatronics. So let's start with the gameplay loop. In general, you'll be going through a sequence of 4, especially in the later nights. Wind up
Next thing you know, we get reported for gore.
Trick any animatronic near you or in your office, check the hallway and the vent lights, and repeat. It's a fairly simple gameplay loop, but I think it's the best in the whole series. Every piece has a purpose, from the light to the mask to the camera, and you need to use them quickly and expertly to actually survive. Now, a lot of people have a problem with this game's gameplay because it's a lot more RNG based, and I understand that. The skill cap and the random chance that's thrown into it makes it a lot less accessible and way harder in later nights. I think this is the reason in the FNAF World trailer classified the second game as Panic. It's
But not the giant pen is because these admins have been listening to too much Octo.
Make the gameplay loop work. The characters. For me, there's two types. There's vent and hallway characters, and then there's special characters. These characters include Withered Bonnie, Withered Chica, Withered Freddy, and all the toys. These characters move through the cameras, getting closer in either your left or right vent or hallway, and then come into your office, either standing in your office for a moment or just jump scaring you outright. When they appear either right outside your office or in your office, you use the mask to fend them off. If you're not fast enough, then too bad. While they differ slightly in animation, like Toy Bonnie, in general these characters act very similarly, just coming from different paths. These characters include the Marionette, Balloon Boy, Withered Foxy, the Mangle, and Gold Freddy. The Marionette, aka the Puppet, a soon-to-be very important character in the series, hides inside this present box in camera 11. There's a button that you must hold down to keep a music box wound up. If it runs out, the puppet
Follow me in the next round, I wanna try a glitch.
Okay.
Keep track of the box with this timer circle or by the blinking warning indicator. Withered Foxy is not fooled by the mask. He'll appear in the hallway and you have to flash the light on him to reset him. Balloon Boy moves through the vent and is fooled by the mask just like the others. However, he doesn't jump scare you. When he gets into your office, he disables your light, making him a great, or I suppose terrible, combo with Wither.
OMG, I love
There's no
this.
way to get rid of him, so make sure you don't let him in. The Mangle works interestingly because she has many different mechanics. If you see her in the hallway, you use your flashlight like Foxy. If you see her in the vents, use the mask. And finally, there's the screen where he's on the ceiling. Here, it's just up to luck because she can jump scare you at any
No
point.
one made a sword penis.
It's best to just keep him out of the office. And Golden Freddy. Unlike in FNAF 1, Golden Freddy isn't just an Easter egg, although there are plenty of those in this game. In this game, Golden Freddy even has a setting in Custom Night. He doesn't appear until Night 6 or Custom Night, and his gameplay is pretty simple. If you see him either lying in your office or his ghostly head in the hallway, put on your mask right away until he disappears. Despite being a lot more complex than the first game and a lot more RNG based, to me, I think it's the most effective and best one in the whole series. Everything just feels snappy and all of the mechanics have a purpose. The audio in FNAF 2 is probably the most iconic part about it. From the jump scare to the ambience, to the buzzing that plays when an animatronic enters your office, to the horror sting that plays whenever something is in your hallway.
I think we could win, you know.
We could. Oh.
Like the first game, there are a lot of audio cues to the actual gameplay. But unlike the first game, there aren't as many red herrings or fake-out audio pieces. Everything in the second game is connected directly to gameplay. For instance, whenever an animatronic is in your hallway or is getting close, that little horror music loop plays. In early game, it's a great way to know where the animatronics are in relation to you, or if they've moved up. However, in later nights, the sound is pretty much going on continuously. Mangled,
How does a sword turn him on that much?
Whenever time is run out, the marionette plays music letting you know that the music box is over, and you only have a few more seconds before you get jump scared. Mangle's distorted radio sound does act as an interesting uniqueness to the character, but it also gives you an auditory cue as to what character they're in, and when they enter your office. Balloon Boy's
That is a fucking hammer.
tells you when he's moved closer, and you definitely know when he's in your
We go first!
And the other characters, like the first game, have quiet footsteps and rustling sounds in the vents that give you a general idea of where they are, or if they've just moved. And on that buzzing I mentioned earlier, while the giant animatronic standing right in front of you should be enough to get your attention, it also is accompanied by a sort of
Fuck yeah, bitches.
to drive that.
Woo!
Audio is all tied to some gameplay aspect. And we can't forget the jump scare. Completely different from the first game, and it's
Woo! We won! Woo!
a lot to note here, that I know of at least, besides the center of the whole freedom theory I discussed earlier. It's a
Have that, you wet wipes.
but okay, let's talk about the ambience for a second.
Yeah, unicorn. Sorry, what is the glitch you wanted to try?
It's a lot less dense and a lot less deep also. It sounds less droney and is a little bit quieter. To me, it sounds like actual office ambience, like a loud air conditioner or some plumbing in the background. It's a lot more high-pitched.
Are you gonna,
While FNAF 1's ambience felt like a fear fest, FNAF 2, because there's so much more going on, it would make sense that it would offset that by when things aren't going on, having a lot calmer and quieter ambience. It's still creepy, just less packed. Now, compared to the first game, I think this game just looks a lot less scary. That doesn't mean the game isn't scary.
ITS possible kinda.
It packs a lot less of a punch. So instead, I just want to talk about some standout sequences.
I'm just gonna actually try and build something.
A lot less claustrophobic in this game. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's less scary. I mentioned in the first game that the doors feel very protective. They feel like a good line of defense. However, despite looking more high-tech than the first game, the flimsy flashlight and mask do not make you feel safe at all. Instead, you feel completely exposed the entire time, which makes it really scary. The fear of the second game feels less like being stuck in a small space, and
Pear Dante, I have a spear generator.
At any moment, something can come for you from the depths. The characters in this game are just not scary to me.
Okay, do what you do it.
Feeling, but they just don't creep me out as much. The toys, while still definitely feeling very off, still feel like their namesake, toys. I will say though, Toy Bonnie sliding across the screen you put your mask on is really creepy. And then there's the Wizards and Mangle. Now, instead of feeling too sleek or clean, they feel too destroyed. I know a lot of people were really scared by Withered Bonnie, but he felt like he was just trying too hard to me. I still think the designs are cool. I think Withered Freddy is my favorite iteration of Freddy, and Withered Bonnie is pretty badass. But they're just a little too over the top for me to find them scary. With one exception. Withered Chica. I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but Withered Chica is fucking terrifying to me. Literally probably the scariest animatronic in the whole series, for me at least. She's reminiscent of a fucked up scarecrow and is legitimately scary to me after all these years. The missing hands, unhinged jaw, and terrifying eyes. It's amazing. The renders in this game are actually really interesting because they're a lot more packed, with different characters showing up in the same room a lot more. But aside from some cool imagery, there's not a lot there. Unlike in FNAF 1, where it was very difficult to make out who was where, as long as you use the flashlight and the camera, it's pretty easy to keep track of everyone. Not that you'll be doing much of that in later nights, instead just using the camera to wind up the music box. Holy Mary, Mother of God. This is when the Five Nights at Freddy's story and secrets went off the deep end. But before we get into that, let's talk about some less important Easter eggs and secrets, starting with some hidden characters. Very rarely you can see this bare endoskeleton.
Very rarely? I got them like twice in a row.
He can't actually attack you, but apparently he can block other characters from entering the vent, meaning he's actually an asset to the player. Exactly his lore relevance or meaning is not entirely known, and it's possible he's just a fun Easter egg. There's also a couple hallucination characters, Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie. Shadow Freddy rarely appears in the parts and service room and will crash your game if you look at him for too long. I also want to point out that I believe I was one of the first people on YouTube to have encountered this, uploading my video with the encounter literally one day after the game's release. Shadow Bonnie, later known as RWQFSFASXC, will appear in the office at times, and I believe will crash your game as well, but I'm not 100% sure. And then there's the more appearing and then reappearing in your office. Oh, and JJ. I don't know what's up with her. She's down there. There's also the rare death screens and opening screens, much like the first game, with just sort of dark, eyeless versions of the characters. And then, in between nights, you get these sort of cutscene where you're from Freddy's perspective looking back and forth. First, it's the other animatronics looking at you, then Golden Freddy, then the puppet. Again, I'm not going to get super deep into the lore relevance of this, but I have to say, when you first boot up that game, it was shocking. But let's talk about the part you've all been waiting for, the death minigames. Now, this sort of Atari minigame style storytelling has basically become inseparable from FNAF at this point, but at the time we had never seen anything of the sort. So when you died and this happened, it was mind-blowing. Rarely, after dying, instead of being taken back to the menu, you will be transported into an Atari-style minigame. Each minigame reveals some aspect of the lore and introduces the all-important purple guy. Now, exactly how all of these fit into the lore in modern FNAF is not entirely clear, so I'm going to be taking them at face value as they appeared at the time. In this game, you play as Freddy, giving cake to various children at a party. The children get more angry the longer they've gone without cake, so it's sort of a simplified restaurant game. However, the important part is what's happening outside of the restaurant. A child stands outside crying. After a while, a car pulls up and the Purple Man steps out and seemingly kills the child and drives away. While all of this is happening, Freddy is getting slower and a creepy voice spells out the words, "Save him." Finally, the game ends with the marionette jump-scaring the player. In this game, you play as Foxy, running from Pirate's Cove into a room of children who all celebrate your arrival. The third time you do this, you can see the Purple Man smiling in the corner, and when you reach the room of children, they're all dead. The game ends with Withered Foxy's jump scare. Here, you play as the marionette. You give out gifts to 4 dead children's bodies, and then you give them life by putting animatronic heads on them. A creepy voice reads out the text, "Help them," and when you finish giving the animatronics heads, Golden Freddy jump scares the camera and the game ends. However, there is one thing to note. On the last frame before Golden Freddy attacks, you can see a 5th child appear in the middle of the room. Here is where things get a little crazier. In this final minigame, the player, as Freddy, follows the marionette around the pizzeria with dead bodies lying in different rooms. Again, a voice spells out, "Save them." There are a couple of different ways for this to end, by either following the marionette, wandering off, or touching the dead bodies. Rarely, there's a chance you'll encounter the Purple Man, who attacks Freddy and shuts off the game, but not before the words "you can't" appear. There is an absurd amount to unpack here, and I'm not going to get into it until we get to the more theory section of this video, but let's just say this. The death minigames were so insane, so packed with speculation and uncertainty, that with such a minimalist style, it's legitimately impressive how Scott Cawthon was able to tell such a dense story.
OMG, I am out.
Like I brought up in the beginning when going over the teasers, there was an absurd amount of
Really?
hype around this game at the time. The teasers just had a way of getting into people's minds, and this is also when the theory crafting section of YouTube really started exploding. 8-Bit Gaming, Dawko, Smike, all started making videos about Five Nights at Freddy's around this time. And although
AWWITTPDME back.
This is when it exploded. And this is when game theory started making theories that made any sort of sense. But before we get into that, I just want to highlight some community stuff from back then. The song that recently had a meme resurgence, "It's Been So Long," is a legitimate banger. Like, that instrumental break is fucking amazing. This is also the time where more FNAF fan music began to pop up. This is also when fan games began to be made, with Five Nights at Treasure Island, which is still the most scared I've ever been playing a game, and One Night at Flumpty's and One Night at Flumpty's 2. And then, of course, there was Vincent. Oh dear God. Also, my introduction to the animator Diet Stab, who now does entirely different stuff. But back then, that I can't decide FNAF Purple Guy animation slapped for my tiny baby brain. Also, while it may have been released a tad bit after FNAF 3 release, I think Pymation's 5 AM at Freddy's the prequel deserves a spot here. Alright, the theories. Now, it would be impossible to go over all of them, so instead we're just going to talk about some surrounding the death minigames and where the lore was at the time. First off, less a theory and more a confirmed fact at this point, the game is actually a prequel, not a sequel timeline-wise. We can tell for a variety of reasons, the biggest being the fact that your paycheck gives you the date 1987, a year referred to in the past tense in FNAF 1 with the bite of 87. There's also the reference of this new and improved restaurant actually being a remake of a place called Fredbear's Family Diner, which would become a very important name later in the series, but for now it just meant that there was at least one location before FNAF 2. And at the end of Night 6, you're told via newspaper that the withered animatronics are going to be repurposed in a new restaurant, presumably the FNAF 1 restaurant. Now, in general, the accepted theory was that the Purple Man killed one child first, as seen in the Take Cake to the Children minigame. This child then became the puppet, and then the Purple Man strikes again. The puppet brings the children to life by having them possess the animatronics. And that's about where the agreement left off. So let's get into the shit. Purple Guy! The introduction of a new human character was pretty big, let alone someone this iconic. So theories abound. Was there two Purple Guys, considering there are two different sprites? Last time I checked, this one is still up for debate. Popularized by MatPat's video, was the phone guy Purple Guy? Was the night guard from FNAF 1 Purple Guy? Was it the day shift night guard that's referenced by the phone guy? And don't get me started on what the Purple Guy is holding. A taser, a phone. I'm gonna be honest, I always thought it was just his big funny hand. I mean, his security badge is a different color, why wouldn't what he's holding be too? I don't know.
Was that the bite face, Robin?
That's right, we're back. There were plenty of possible culprits put forth. Was it the Mangle who jump scares from above?
Ooh!
Was it the frontal lobe area? Was it Withered Foxy? Was it the Shadow animatronics? Some believe that the victim was the Night Guard that we play as, and the canon ending of the game is getting killed by Mangle, because we're the bite victim. Or that the day shift party we're supposed to go to is where we get bit. Others thought it was the day shift guard whose position becomes...
Now watch the snow become from the penis.
Maybe it's the phone guy. Wait, what? The Shadow animatronics are often overlooked with the advent of the puppet and the Purple Guy, but they remain one of the most mysterious additions to the game. From lost souls to manifestations of the Purple Man to just hallucinations. Because of how mysterious they are and continue to be, the theories are rather limited, especially back then. I mean, hell, I thought Shadow Freddy was just Golden Freddy when I first saw it. And then there was the theory that the Living Tombstone song was secretly canon, and that they had partnered with Scott Cawthon, which was just not even a little bit true. Alright, in the last video I made, I had a whole dedicated section to my experience, but it felt kind of redundant, so I'm just going to go over how I fit into the community at the time, at the end of the community section. Now, my theories about the game weren't exactly the most popular thing in the world, but it was really interesting to get feedback from a community, which I had never experienced before. And the views I was getting were unlike anything I had ever got before. My FNAF 2 Let's Plays never blew up, but I had a fantastic time making them. And like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure I was one of the first people to encounter Shadow Freddy on YouTube.
Told you again.
Alright, so where does this game go on the tier list? I'm gonna have to go S tier. The first game goes up there just because it's so iconic. It's Five Nights at Freddy's 1.
We got first again!
I legitimately think it's the best Five Nights at Freddy's game. Every aspect of the gameplay is...
When did you go first again?
...that was insane at the time and still is. And
OMG.
also introduced characters that
OMG.
are going to be important to the
OMG.
series forever. In my opinion, it's the quintessential Five Nights at Freddy's game. Sure
This is what happens when you let Isaac build.
the sort of learning curve and the RNG that is introduced into it is pretty tough, but to me, I think it's the best game.
I haven't even done that.
The website was updated to offline, and then I am still here.
Probably copyrighted music.
ITS not copyright.
Okay, good.
I think.
Hopefully not.
First off, wow, just wow. The amount of Alright, Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Let's get into it.
You ain't staying alive, punk!
My name is Marla, and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's.
You have been copyrighted by Hive. Get off our server.
I was this close! I was so close!
I mentioned in the last video that
Did bro just call me a punk? A punk.
Maybe.
Nah nah nah.
I am still here, and the reveal of a new character. Someone who would be arguably the most important
I
character
am not
in the
having
entire
that.
series. You brighten it, there's a 3 in the corner, just in case you couldn't tell. What can we use? Again, just in case you couldn't tell. Here we have a bit of a reveal. This is actually a sequel, not a prequel. The old animatronics are scrapped, forgotten, destroyed. And then, when the image is brightened, a little more of our new character. If I remember correctly, this was around the time people started calling the character salvage or amalgamation, because it was believed to be a...
Oh, that got a lot of people out.
Now there's a quote I recognize, an iconic line that would permeate the series forever. The purple text obviously alludes
You
to
burpee
the
bugger.
is pretty much a way as to who this new character truly was, but we'll save that for later. Here we have a reveal of the camera map we'd see in the game. In the brightened image we can see a new system, what would later be revealed to be the vent system. Another thing to note, if you flip the map upside down, you can see it's very reminiscent of Scott Cawthon's icon. Just a funny little thing. Guess who? Balloon Boy had already been established as a hated character. Not actually hated, just more of a meme because of his annoying laugh and the rolling gameplay. And that caused this mix of shock and panic at the fact that he may reappear, especially in this nightmarish appearance. Well, no, not that yet. When the image is brightened, you can see the number 10. Exactly what this means is still unclear, but
Your comebacks are so bad they might have to start paying taxes.
Oh, shut up. I gotta close my windows. Give me a sec.
While technically Phantom BB was the first reveal, here we have a hint at their incorporation, all in your mind. And then there was the trailer. There was so much surrounding this. From the little things like Bonnie looking at the camera to the iconic line, "He will come back," there's even a scene that, while creepy now, would actually have some...
He has gone a what on his windows.
Then there's the jump scare. I think this is around the time people started making the Springtrap is a good guy theory, because he just sort of walks at you instead of jumping right at the camera. Oh, did I say Springtrap? The name reveal for this character is wild. On his Steam community page, Scott Cawthon made a seemingly...
I heard that differently, Pear.
...beta testing of the game. However, certain letters were doubled up. Selecting these letters and putting them together creates the message, "My name is Springtrap." Why this was his name was not exactly clear yet, and people still thought that he was an amalgamation between Bonnie and Golden Freddy. I mean, I guess...
I said close, you daft sausage roll. Me too.
Ah, fuck. Another fun way Scott Cawthon built hype was by completely trolling the community. Early on in the hype of Five Nights at Freddy's 3 in February, Scott Cawthon made a Steam Greenlight post saying that the game was going to be released early because someone had released the game on GameJolt. Downloading the game, however, after this creepy menu screen, would lead you directly into a simple reskin of an old Scott Cawthon game, There Is No Pause Button, which
I am not crazy.
Profile picture with a Freddy head on. In the background, that
close my windows, you imbecile.
Display, but that ended up getting changed due to copyright reasons. There was some stuff of actual note in this game, however. For instance, some actual game files were found in the decompile, and a strange number Easter egg that many believe is connected to the Balloon Boy 10 teaser in some way. Also of note, the menu music for this game is the actual menu music for the final game, but just slowed down.
I will put the maid skin on our end.
2015, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was released.
Don't you dare!
This one was really different from the other games. I mean, really different. In one way, I like the concept of this game better than 1 and 2, but on the other hand, it's the only one of the main 4 and sister location that I have yet to beat. Seriously, I have no idea what it is.
You silly sausage roll.
Plus, it's not as engaging as
Oh,
the first 2,
please don't be steampunk again. I hate steampunk. I didn't even finish it when I was on earlier.
There's only one animatronic, Springtrap. The phantoms/hallucinations do act as a part of the gameplay. There's only one character that can kill you, and that's Springtrap. The first night, Springtrap isn't even in the building yet, according to the lore, so instead you just get accustomed to the office. Starting night 2, Springtrap is released into the office, and he can come at you through the vents or from a door on your
Terminal, my favorite. Emoji clapping hands, emoji clapping hands, emoji clapping hands.
Although among the players it is easier. In FNAF 1 and 2, the cameras were only used mechanically and not to actually keep track of the animatronics. However, in this game, that's the most important part. Springtrap moves from camera to camera, either in the vents or in the main building. Once you spot him, you can either use an audio cue to lure him somewhere else in the building, or block off a vent, one vent at a time. There are a couple of limbo areas, for instance, standing outside your office or hanging around outside your door. As far as I remember, if Springtrap is standing in front of your window, you still have a little bit of a chance to lure him away. However, if he's in the doorway, you just sort of have to wait it out, or else you'll be jump scared. The Phantoms come in all different shapes and sizes, and all have slightly different mechanics. The Phantom Balloon Boy appears randomly in the cameras, and if you don't move away from the screen quickly enough, he'll jump scare you. Now, Phantom jump scares don't kill you, instead causing some other havoc, disabling your other systems, but we'll get into that later. Phantom Foxy appears randomly in your office, and if you turn to look at him, he'll jump scare you. Phantom Freddy will appear walking down the hallway in front of you. If you stare at him for too long, he'll jump scare you. Phantom Chica is similar to Balloon Boy, but only appears in the arcade machine on Camo 7. Phantom Mangle appears on the cameras as well, but doesn't jump scare you. Instead, Mangle plays ear-piercing static and stares at you for a while. Phantom Puppet will appear on Camo 8, and will appear in your office if you stare for too long, blocking you from using your camera and maintenance panel for a short period of time. This is where things started to really change from Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2. Like FNAF 2, there's no doors, so instead
Came fifth.
use the defense mechanisms I talked about earlier. Audio lures and blocking vents. However,
Of course she came second.
I fucking love Terminal.
counterpart in the maintenance panel.
I didn't die as much as I thought I would.
If you use one of these aspects too much, it will stop working and you need to move to the maintenance panel to fix it. This takes precious time away from trying to keep Springtrap at bay, and God help you if multiple systems fail at once. This was also the first introduction to an extras and cheats menu. Beating different aspects of the game unlocked a cheats menu, a gallery, a jump scares menu. You could play all the different mini games, and an aggressive mode. However, there was no custom night. Now, on a more personal note, I prefer this idea for gameplay and concept way more than the other ones. Like, actually having to use the
This guy gonna finish? Oh, just about.
You actually have to keep track of Springtrap. But even though I like it so much, I don't know why it's so hard for me, even though it's supposed to be easier.
Well done. I know that guy. I know that guy.
This game is not afraid to use entirely moldy.
Why did that message get filtered, YouTube? That's the most innocent thing I've said.
Electronic parts. All of this is intentional, of course, but we'll get into that. Despite being set 30 years in the future, things are even more jankier and low-tech. Now, there's a reason for that, but we'll get into that in a second. For now, let's talk about the cameras, the office, and the characters. The office, much like in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, is a lot less claustrophobic than Five Nights at Freddy's 1. In fact, you have to move all the way to the other side of the office.
Oh, I'm a death.
Panel from your camera. A window stares right
I literally complimented my GF.
on your left. A box of animatronic
Seriously, YouTube.
and a Freddy Fazbear suit sits missing parts on a coat rack outside your door. The art, posters, and even plushies on your desk seem somehow even less cute and more uncanny. Despite the rest of the location being lit by bright green stage lights, your office only has a single hanging bulb, keeping you relatively in the dark. The main thing to note, though, is just how wide the office is. Like I said, you have to move all the way from side to side to access the camera. It sets up a perfect feeling of hurried tension to fix a broken vent or reset the audio cue in time to save yourself. In my video about Five Nights at Freddy's 1, I talked about how well that game makes you lean in and try and pick apart everything that happens in the camera. Well, it's very similar in this game for a couple reasons. Firstly, it's the main aspect.
Guess house here, bitches.
Later nights of FNAF 1, you don't need to
Stop. I just killed Isaac as a death.
Freddy is in the bathroom. It's more of a mechanical gameplay loop, not utilizing the other cameras except Pirate's Code. But in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, you always need to keep track of Springtrap. The aspect is how much harder it is to see these cameras. Pure darkness and deep shadow, absurd static, and a character who is the same color as 90% of the map.
You fucking what?
I killed Isaac. We're doing death run and I killed Isaac as a death.
It means you'll be putting your face right up to the screen, putting yourself in the perfect position to be scared by a phantom animatronic. For the phantoms, I feel very similarly to the characters in the second game. They're cool, but not scary. They're trying too hard, except Chica is kind of creepy. Springtrap, on the other hand, wow. You know, because of his more goofy and
Isaac got any more
his
bars?
design doesn't reach its full potential. He is one of the best slasher type character
Go on.
designs in video
Go on,
games,
dude.
maybe even going into movies too. There's a reason.
Oh, my days. Oh, no.
It's amazing. His bloody skull can be seen through the holes in his head and his mouth, destroyed, ripped, and molded.
Go on, I'll let you go.
The more uncanny animatronics who seem expressionless, Springtrap radiates too much expression. He seems too alive, like a thinking, breathing creature, which, as half corpse and half robot...
HITLER in a car, people in the bar, girls going rawr.
And he would eventually make his way up there to be iconic like Freddy and the Puppet. There isn't a lot here that I haven't already said about the other drony, eerie ambience, a stinger that happens when things get a little bit too close, loud and human-like jump scare sounds. There are a couple things I want to mention about this game in particular, though. First, the beep 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 of the breaking ventilation, paired with the visuals of the blinking red light.
I'm a death again!
Pure panic. That's really just a large part of the game, inducing panic in between moments of just dread. which is what the single location trailer called it. The other thing I want to mention about this game is the glitchiness of the audio. Along with the more janky visual design, which again is on purpose, the audio sounds crunchy. I don't know audio terms.
I got a triple kill.
Itself is glitching, breaking, unstable. This not only adds to the visual feel of decrepitness, but also to the tension behind the broken down
Vine wall.
electronics you're armed with. Much like in FNAF 2, your means of defense do not feel at all reliable, making you feel much more vulnerable and further increasing the fear. Also, in the Between Night minigames, which we'll get back to, there's really interesting use of 8-bit sounds and then like real-life background ambience. It makes you feel like you're actually playing one of these arcade games somewhere in an old abandoned building. Also, the 2 ending songs are some of the best pieces of game music ever. I know I say this a lot, but wow. I mean, if you thought Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was convoluted, you haven't seen anything yet. Now, I'm not a guide for how to beat all the secret mini-games and, you know, how to get the good ending, but for now, let's talk about some of the easier stuff, and then I'll go over the basics of that sort of thing. So, the premise. First off, it takes place over 30 years after the first game, and much like the first game, the story is revealed through phone calls. However, it isn't the classic phone guy who first calls you. It's a new character dubbed Phone Dude who has this sort of surfer accent going. He reveals that the location is actually a haunted house attraction based on the rumors surrounding Freddy Fazbear.
Oh, actually, did I kill you?
And props from the restaurant. However, due to being so faithful to the original restaurants, the technology you're using, camera, ventilation, is old and janky. The air vents are unreliable and the equipment is a real fire hazard.
I apologize for that one, Isaac. I wasn't even trying.
With people walking past and looking into the window to feel like a real Freddy's restaurant. It hasn't quite opened yet though because they're waiting for something that really hooks people.
Anymore. Ride mine NS mobility scooter is coming for that little green box.
To jump out and scare people. However, on night 2,
we found one. A real one.
And so Springtrap has been released into the building. Also, replacing the phone calls as nights go on are these vintage training tapes talking about this new Springlock animatronic, narrated by Phone Guy. Springlock animatronics double as both an animatronic.
Okay, I'll let him finish.
Compressing the animatronic parts out. They operate with spring locks, which keep the animatronic parts out so you can get inside. However, if you were to accidentally trigger one of these, well, you're dead. Now you can start to see what happened to Springtrap. They also mention this back room where you're supposed to bleed out if the spring locks go off while you're inside. Okay, so the basic premise. You're a night guard at a horror-haunted attraction, and an evil zombie robot is after you. In between nights, you play these 8-bit minigames, very similar to the death minigames in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which reveal a different story. Each night you play...
Okay, that's what if I get a death, 3rd time in a row.
...that seems to resemble the FNAF 1 location closest. A shadowy animatronic figure leads you to a back room, which you can't enter, and then Purple Guy attacks, taking the animatronic as the crying child, making your way to the back room. And we see Purple Guy seemingly afraid of you and a few other ghost children. You chase him around the room until he gets inside of a Golden Bonnie Springlock suit. However, the suit goes off while he's inside, and boom, he's dead. And now we know that Springtrap is the Purple Guy. Then we get the bad ending? Also, at the end of Night 6, we learn via newspaper clipping that Fazbear Fright has burned to the ground. However, Springtrap may have survived the fire. Alright, so I am going to get into the good ending, but first let's go over some smaller Easter eggs. Sometimes this poster will turn into a Spring Bonnie poster, and sometimes you'll be able to see Shadow Freddy over on your office, but it doesn't do anything. Sometimes a paper plate doll will appear in your office, and then there's the classic rare screens of the animatronics, including a mobile-only one. Okay, wow.
Oh my god!
In the in-between night minigames, there are these hints that you can find around the map. Numbers, symbols. When applied to the game correctly in the actual nights, you can unlock these secret minigames.
Be right back.
Hidden cupcakes, pressing on certain buttons on an arcade machine, or, in the most convoluted one, entering...
Oh my god, I hope you get your sleeves wet next time you wash your hands!
Seriously, Scott? Oh look, here's a wall. Once you enter these minigames,
Better reach out what?
normally, and go back to your night. But that's not how you get the good ending. Instead, you have to glitch each minigame.
Right, my nan's ability scoop is coming for that little green box. Okay.
To some hidden ghost children. Also of note, in these minigames, we can see a glitchy Shadow Bonnie and a location that is presumably Fredbear's family diner, as referenced in the second game, featuring Golden Freddy and Golden Bonnie, now known as Springwood. After you've done that, you can play the Happiest Day minigame, where you, as a child in a puppet mask, wander through a pizzeria until you reach one last crying child. All of the other children from the other minigames join you to give them a birthday cake, and then you can get the regular, not bad ending. Wow, there are a lot of theories here, and we'll get into that later, but just for now, the fact that anybody figured these out is insane to me. At this point, there were a couple different ways to view the game. First, it was the most amazing, scariest game ever made, or there were the people who resented it for being made so quickly and relying mostly on jump scares, or at least that's how they saw it. However, the Let's Play scene was at its peak here. Everybody wanted a piece of the action. I mean, with the only game with an actual end, people thought it was going to be the thrilling conclusion to the biggest horror franchise in a long time. Alright, I mentioned fan songs on here before. This is when DA Games made his...
Oh, this is the exact same map.
Tombstone released their only fan song that I didn't like when it came
Wanna join now or later?
Later.
The SFM models and the chorus turned me into a little Five Nights at Freddy's fan song elitist. Also, Rumi made a Five Nights at Freddy's 3 song? What? To be fair, it does kind of slap though. There was the fantastic Two Evil Eyes SFM short film. Springtrap really seemed to strike something with people. A serial killer stuck inside of a moldy, disgusting, rusting animatronic. It's a really great character concept. And there were also a lot of hoaxes, or just fan-made leaks in general. The classic SFM, Fazbear Mall, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 trailer, the Freddyland teaser, and, of course, the hoax screenshots and character reveals. Okay, this was a really interesting time for theories. For all intents and purposes, the main story had been wrapped up at this point. Generally, the consensus on the story was this. Purple Guy, an employee at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, was a serial killer who murdered children at Fazbear Entertainment restaurants. Dressed in a Spring Bonnie costume, he was able to lure children to a back room and kill them. With the help from the puppet, the first victim,
Did I finish before Isaac?
fought the animatronics. The puppet helps bring them together, giving the Golden Freddy victim the birthday he never got. Years later,
Isaac's a death and he's BRB!
haunted by the children, goes back to the abandoned restaurant to dismantle the animatronics and get rid of the evidence. However, the spirits chase him into this old spring which goes off.
No wonder we're all making it through, because this guy isn't here right now!
Are set free. However, Purple Guy's spirit now haunts the suit, and 30 years later, he's released into the horror attraction Fazbear's Fright, which burns down not long after. Throw in a little cliffhanger at the end that he survived, and you got a nice bow on the story. There were still some loose ends, but I feel like this is where Five Nights at Freddy's peaked story-wise. There were also some smaller miscellaneous theories. There was the idea that the Mangle wasn't actually a phantom and instead a physical animatronic roaming the facility. Or the idea that the blue jeans, green shirt character was somehow integral to the story popularized by 8-Bit Gaming. And the idea that this scene in the trailer is actually the same scene in the minigame, which, if true, would be very gruesome. But still, there were those loose ends. The Bite of 87 still wasn't solved. Was the Golden Freddy victim the Bite victim, or was he killed by the Purple Man at his birthday party? Who the hell are the Shadow animatronics, or these masks in the Happiest Day minigame? Who started the fire? MatPat's theory made a lot of attempts to cover these. The endoskeletons belonged to Golden Freddy. The puppet stuffed the children, not the Purple Guy. Purple Guy used the taser. Phone Guy's recordings being out of timeline in FNAF 2. The Bite of 87 being the Mangle. Jeremy being the Bite victim. Phone Guy is Purple Guy. The rain is what kills him in the Springlock suit. The bad ending is canon. And so many other timeline issues. Honestly, it felt nice having some closure. That wouldn't last. Alright, so where does the game go on the tier list? Okay, maybe some people will say this is blasphemy, but judging on the Twitter poll that I put up, I think a lot of you agree with me. I'm putting it in B tier. Remember when I said people thought it was easy? Well, that wasn't necessarily a good thing. A lot of people felt like a little disappointed. There wasn't a custom night. It felt like it went by a little too fast. and people thought the gameplay was just lackluster, along with the jump scare. In fact, some people speculate that the reason Scott Cawthon would go on to make a Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was because of how poorly that this game did. It's not that it was terrible, it's just compared to the other two, it doesn't quite hold up gameplay-wise. I might have even put it on C tier if it weren't for the fact that Springtrap was introduced in it, and the story is really amazing in this game. It's just gameplay-wise, it's not great. But I feel like B is a good spot. It's above average. After FNAF 3's release, a new teaser showed up on Scott Games' website with a top hat. And then, it disappeared. And then, so there's Five Nights at Freddy's 3. I have to say, writing this made my head hurt. There's so much going on, and... Hold on.
Oh, screw you, Death.
Five Nights at Freddy's games. We're at Five Nights at Freddy's 4, the final chapter. First, I just want to
Screw you, Death.
thank you for your support.
Oh, what?
It is more than I ever could have imagined, so thank you. I also want to say that the next video is going to be about FNAF World, which presents a unique challenge, so it might take a little bit longer than normal to get FNAF World out. With that said, let's start this video about Five Nights at Freddy's 4.
I back bitches.
Like I said in my Five Nights at Freddy's 3 video, everyone thought the third game was going to be the end to a trilogy.
Isaac, you know when you
But we know that
went BRB,
Let's take a look
the game you were BRB, you were a Death.
4.jpg, a terrifying, cartoonishly so, Freddy Fazbear. A bunch of what would later be known as Freddles crawling all over him. The final chapter, Halloween. Here we have the Was It Me teasers. These are probably my favorite pieces of official FNAF art ever. The lighting, the poses, Foxy's spiking tongue blade, glowing eyes, it's amazing. The Was It Me text was interpreted as a lot of different things, but mainly, who did the bite of 87? Which one? This was supposed to be a reveal of one of the biggest ongoing mysteries in the franchise, and people got really hyped. Also, it was the name reveal of these new animatronics. The Nightmare animatronics, seen as very lightly visible on the teasers. Then the color purple again. This time not necessarily related to Purple Guy. Who exactly this new purple bow tie belonged to wasn't entirely agreed upon, which wasn't helped by the mystery of what the text at the bottom of the screen said when bright property of... No, yeah, very helpful. However, it was generally believed to say Fredbear's Family Diner or be related to that, or maybe it belonged to Shadow Freddy. Also, there is a smaller light in the corner illuminating a reflection of some sort of jaws, and who these jaws belong to would be revealed in the next teaser. And here we go. Stomach mouth, purple bow tie, black and white body. The reveal of Fredbear. This was confirmed by a secret code in the inspect element of the website. A random set of letters that, when taken back one in the alphabet, spelled out Fredbear. Also brightened in the corner is the text, or was it me? Well, you already know, but we didn't back then. Other hidden text includes something that appears to say property of me. There was also the theory that there's a teeny tiny itty bitty crying child or puppet face, which, looking back on it, makes me realize just how much we were reaching back then. And terrible things come in small packages. A tiny Springtrap plush, now known as Plush Trap. And here's where things begin to get strange. This no longer looked like a pizzeria, it looked like a house. And of course, there were more theories out there about this. 8-Bit Gaming posited that the window in the back of Mangle's Quest were these same windows. I love 8-Bit Gaming, but they must have pulled their backs out with some of these reaches. This would also inspire the worst piece of Five Nights at Freddy's fan art ever. Not because of lack of talent, but just because of the way that it is. If you know, you know. Also, another thing to note really quickly is that in the source code of Scott's websites and a lot of these points, the numbers 8 and 7 were hidden all over the place. Obviously, we know what that means now. Then there was the trailer. What is it that you think you see? Flashlight in an empty hallway. Clock chimes. What game do you think you're playing? Boom. Terrifying. This line right here, "What have you brought home?" was cause for a lot of speculation. Assuming it was a sequel instead of a prequel, people figured that maybe you bought it from the auction at the end of FNAF 3. But who would want these in their house? Maybe you were playing as the son of Purple Guy. Well, this also revealed that there would be more than just one screen, one office. Each door had a screen. You could run around the room, and there was even a view of a hallway with plush trap. People speculated that this would mean it was similar to the fan game Five Nights at Wario's, where each night you are in a different part of the house. But all of these questions would be answered when, as usual, Scott Cawthon released the game ahead of schedule, July 23rd, 2015. Now, I know I say this every single time, but Five Nights at Freddy's 4 really changed the game gameplay-wise. No longer did you have the power of industrial electronics to fend them off. Only a weak flashlight and your creaky doors. Before we get into the gameplay loop, which does change at times, let's talk about the aspects of the gameplay. That's right, movement. The first game to really have any sort of movement. You have a few places you can move to in your room. First, the center of your room. Here is where you can choose what part of your room you want to go to. You can go in front of you, you can swipe down to look behind you, or click on your left or right. Your closet is in front of you where you can use the light and hold the door closed. On either side of you, you can run up to the doors and look down the hall. You can hold the doors closed here too and use the light. And then, looking behind you, you can see your bed. Your two lines of defense in this game are your flashlight and the doors. Unfortunately for you, though, you can't just press a button to close these doors. You have to actively be there holding them closed yourself. Their default state is open. The light works much like FNAF 2, just using control to shine it. The doors keep the animatronics out, and the light scares them away. Now, once again, these things change depending on the night, but mainly this is what you'll be dealing with. Now let's talk about the main characters. The main characters are Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, and Foxy. Bonnie and Chica come to either the left or the right door, respectively. If you can catch them in the hallway with your flashlight, you can hold them off for a moment. However, don't get too overzealous with your light. If they're too close and you shine it, they'll jump scare you. That's the main way you'll die in this game. So how do you tell if they're close to you? You listen for their breath. I know, it's weird that the animatronics have breath, but that's the mechanic. So you open the door and listen for breathing. If you hear it, if you don't, shine your light to scare them off. They don't just jump scare you from the doors though. If you let them come in, they can kill you too. Either Bonnie attacking you in your room or Chica sending in the cupcake. Freddy works in a very different way. Checking on your bed, these little evil Freddy images slowly begin to pile up over time. Shining your light on them scares them away. If too many pile up, Freddy will come out from under your bed and jump scare you. Honestly, I think there's a real missed opportunity here for you to actually see Freddy under your bed, but these Freddles are pretty scary anyway. And Foxy. He moves back and forth around the halls too. However, he doesn't jump scare you from the door, and when he gets in, he doesn't kill you either. Instead, he hides in the closet, which you will be notified of by this little animation. From here, he has a few different phases. First being a plush, and then becoming a monster, until he finally climbs out of your closet. You can check his phase by using the flashlight for a moment, and hold the door closed to make him slowly move back in phases. So, despite not having a camera or a maintenance panel to deal with, there's all these different complementary aspects of gameplay that mean you'll always be on the move. With that, let's look at the main gameplay loop. Now, there are many different strategies people use to beat this game. Some of it relies on memorizing exactly what certain sound cues mean.